Yo. What's up, people? In the way, Tell me who could be. For once eluded me. Tell me who could be. For once eluded me. Depeche Mode, what a great name. I'm tripping. Let's go! Dude, what a tune, bro! What a tune, what a tune. Let's go! Red, red. Who's your lover now? Red, red. Who's it all about? Oh, you got broken up with? Yeah, it's tough. To my psychosis friend, down and begin again. Yeah, the room is pretty good, and I don't feel the same. Red, who's your lover now? Red, red, who's it all about? Me, I grew. Let's go! If I do, and I do anything that you would say. Let's go! Free cookies! When you could be there. Let's go! How we doing, guys? I do. I think you threw your pains away. I do. I think you threw your pains away. Let's go. Dude, yeah, we're killing it with the likes. Hit those likes, baby. I do. I think you threw your pains away. Yeah, I'm real. I'm real. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm real. I'm real. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm real. I'm real, yeah, 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 I'm real. shit. Let's go. Dude, how we doing, guys? Oh, dude, I do love that fucking song, boss. That's a good one. All right. Let's go, dude. People are piling in here. Dude, isn't that funny? The guy, that person's name, 𝗙𝗵𝗡 Mood. That's such a great name, right? Dude, we love to see it. Sorry, I'm trying to fucking figure out. I'm like, trying to sort it out. Love it. I love it too. That shit is amazing. Dude, I'm going to keep the music on quietly for a minute. So what do we got? Sunday night. So here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking, guys. Okay? What I'm thinking is this. Because we know I want to watch the Cenk Uyghur Jubilee thing, but I know that Jubilee is going to copy strike me. Right? Because they always do. Because they're fucking degenerates. Right? So what I'm thinking is this. What I'm thinking we'll do is I'm thinking we'll do this. I'm thinking that we will do the stream, right? Everything but the Cenk Uyghur thing. And then we'll save that for the end. Okay, so then we'll do the stream. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut it. And I'm going to start a new stream just for the Cenk Uyghur thing. So then, you know, Jubilee can go ahead and copy strike that, and I don't have to worry about it, but they're not copy striking my whole stream, right? And that is how we're gonna roll, right? They've only brought in 100 billion in tariffs. Yeah, so the tariffs are fucking, dude, it's crazy though, because the tariffs were paid for by us. So, like, tariff income is ridiculous because that was, you know what I mean? Like, all these MAGA people keep saying, oh, the tariffs are paid by China and Vietnam. And it's like, no, they're not. The American companies have paid that shit, right? So, like, that shit's fucking brutal. Hold on one sec here. Hold on, I gotta find something real quick. Our country paid people to be healthy. Dude, yeah, can you imagine? Dude, yeah, I swear to you, I will never understand, right? I will never understand why. Hold on one sec. Give me 1 sec here. Hold on, I'm gonna turn the music up for 1 minute. Enjoy the music for 1 sec. I have to take care of one little thing here real fast. Let's go.
One, two, three, inside of me, bright eyes.
Hold on one sec.
Never telling lies, socialite, half life. Check yourself, do it right, you will be fine. 4, 5, 6, no stones or sticks, my broken bones. Somehow they all got fixed. You're so in demand, you're my vitamins, pretending highs. Abracadabra, 1, 2, 3, please make them disappear. And whatever happens, promise me you won't leave me here.
All right, all right.
Seven, 8, 9, no, not alright. TV catch me crushes, waste time, out of sight and out of mind. Just need another rhyme, I'm too numb to cry. 8, 9, 10.
All right, let's go. FDT, FDT, if you play it backwards, that's funny. Oh shit. All right, dude. So, what I was gonna say is, are there hidden messages in your music played backwards? So, what's funny about the thing is anybody who's recorded fucking music, you know that like playing music backwards with vocals always sounds like something, right? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think you could possibly create a message, but anytime you play something backwards, yeah, I'm sorry, Ingrain, I didn't see that until after I'd made the switch. Anytime you play something backwards, it creates a new vocalization, like backwards words just sound like shit. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds like stuff. You know, so the whole like thinking you hear something, you know, is just, I mean, if you spend any time making some music and playing it backwards, you know that the stuff just sounds like stuff, right? It's literally, you know, it's not magic. Dude, that was huge though, guys. See, this is what's so wild about all the shit that's going on now is I already lived through a generation of those. Like, I remember they were saying KISS stood for Kids in Satan's Service, right? And they were convinced that the SS in KISS was about Satan's service, or it was like a Hitler Youth thing. And then they had like Ozzy Osbourne. They said that he was like brainwashing kids backwards, music backwards, like all this crazy shit. Dude, Jimmy Nuisance, let's go. Dude, we got some good names tonight. We got Jimmy Nuisance. We got Depeche Mode, right? You know, the Satanic Panic. Oh my God, it was crazy. And I mean, I bought into that a little bit too. At the time, I was kind of like studying to be a minister, and in middle school, and I was thinking about becoming a pastor in middle school. I was heavily indoctrinated by religion. I mean, my family was crazy. So of course I looked to religion for like some relief to be saved from like the chaos of my family.
And so my cousin, my older cousin Michelle, was way into Iron Maiden. And when their album Number of the Beast came out, I was like, man, I had a real problem with Iron Maiden. I would not listen to them because they called their album The Number of the Beast. I was like, nope. Dude, I was so religious, guys. And it's so funny because people come in and, you know, I argue with Christians all the time and they're like, you need to be found by God. And I was like, man, I was already like saved and found. And I already went through that rigmarole. Dude, I went into it and I got out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I was like deeply bothered by Iron Maiden's album cover. I was, dude. And I had a real problem with that shit. Oh, shit, dude. Dude, that was crazy stuff, man. He said, play the records backwards. Message to Satan can be heard. Yeah, no, I know. There was a lot of that. A lot of that fucking chaos going on. Right? A lot of that chaos. All right, one more thing here real quick. It was awesome. What was awesome? You were listening to Number of the Beast? All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. Oh, shit. You were saved by the Clash? Dude, the Clash was actually pretty good. Right? The American push to Russian Orthodox. Yeah, what is that? Is that what JD Vance and those guys are? Is that what their deal is? Like JD Vance is some type of Orthodox Catholic, isn't he? And he's like recently converted or what have you. Yeah, the Clash were pretty good. The Clash were definitely something special. Right? I didn't really love their music, but I definitely I don't know. I liked what they were fucking doing. You know what I'm saying? I liked what they were about. He Roman Catholic. Vance converted to Russian oligarch money. That he did indeed. I mean, Trump is a devotee to Russian oligarch money in like a massive fucking serious way. Right? He is, dude. He's like just a huge fucking Maloligarch, right? Dude, yeah, dude, JD Vance was like, what a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Like, what a fucking weirdo. Yeah, they're all so weird. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, this tweet, like today, it really is how I feel, right? Where it says, because this woman is a red pillar and she's like dog momming it today, but she like, you know, has her hand out like that. And she purposely did a like pseudo Roman sign. You know what I'm saying? Where she's like doing it, but not really doing it, just doing it. So the liberal people will say, wow, she's like doing that. But what's crazy about this is everyone in the replies, all the Christians in her replies are like, I love what you're doing, right? They like live, all these like Jesus is king people live to do just sort of manipulative debauchery to try and make people angry. And they think that it's like sanctioned by their God. It's so crazy. You know what I mean? It's so weird. Their religion is like negative attention. And yeah, it's so wild. But again, it's always with the plausible deniability, right? But their religion is literally negative attention these days. It is completely their religion, right? Just obsessed with negative attention. That's all it is, man. You know, it is rabid. Yeah, Jesus was woke as fuck. But this is what American Christians have done. You know what I mean? And let me see. Let's go look at her. There she is. I guess she's somebody. She's the Nebraska GOP communications director. Okay. And right. And right. And she blocked the replies. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Haley is not doing a Nazi salute. Right. What are you doing? I don't get this trend. Right. Even if she was doing a Nazi salute, right? Dude, they're like, oh my God. Right? You know what I'm saying? And people were telling her off, and then she like fucking told it. Trend? Yeah, it's a trend of like Republican people doing something that's not really a Nazi salute, but it could be interpreted as a Nazi salute. And then they're like trying to get the rage bait going. And then once the rage bait goes, they like yell at the left wingers and be like, you call everybody Nazis. See, I mean, it's this game. It's a game at this point, guys, because what it is we know that they're racist and misogynist and they're into the eugenics. And they're towing the line with Nazi beliefs. We know this. The Nazis know it because they're worshiping these people and they love what they're doing. Okay? And so then they like to toy with that, right? Because what they want is they want us to call them Nazis when they can say, you know what? Look, we're not being Nazis. You just call everyone Nazis. Like they think that it gives them a fucking, you know, they think that it gives them some sort of cover. So they just do this shit that is like Nazi adjacent as much as possible. And then as soon as they get a reaction, they're like, aha, you know, but what's crazy about it is like, I don't know. I don't find that stuff maddening. You know what I'm saying? I don't walk around being like, oh, they're fucking, you know what I mean? It's like, I know they're fucking Nazis. You know, I know that they talk about the economy, but they mean white supremacy. I know this. I grew up in that environment. My family is MAGA. I know what MAGA is. I know what unites the right wing in America. I've been watching it get united in living in big cities and small towns for 50 fucking years. Okay? We know that they talk about Chicago to mean black people. You know what I'm saying? They're dog whistles. They toy around with the Nazi salute. They use the like OK symbol or whatever, right? They're white boy summer hats. We know what they are fucking about. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? We know what they are about. It's like we know it. There's no question of it. So the thing about it is they can sit there till they're blue in the face and be like, oh, you shouldn't call everybody Nazis. But it's like, fuck off, bro. I've been watching you guys play this dog whistle shit my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You know, dude, they're so like they're such a fucking clown show is what they are. That's what they are. They're an absolute clown show. Absolute clown show. Ha 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 ha. Dude, I know, yeah, no, the inner city, the Chicago, they, you know what I'm saying, black on black crime. I mean, Benny was like running through them yesterday. You know what I mean? And, you know, dude, Mississippi Burning, dude, yeah, Mississippi Burning is fucking great movie. Dude, amazing fucking movie, dude. That is like, honestly, incredible film, dude. Incredible film. Yeah, really good. You know what my favorite scene in Mississippi Burning is? Is when Gene Hackman goes into their little KKK club or whatever, and he goes and he fucking grabs that guy's nuts, right? He grabs the guy's balls, right? And he's just grabbing him and squeezing him, and the guy's like getting all sweaty, and he's like telling him off. And he's like, tell your fucking boys to relax. If they move in here, I'll fucking rip these things right off. He just grabs his fucking nuts and manhandles him and then throws him to the ground. Oh, shit, dude. When he, like, basically reads him the riot act. Dude, that was so good. You know what I'm saying? That shit was so good, dude. That movie. I mean, there's nothing I like more than seeing racists get their asses beat. Right? Like, you know, it's like that shit with the fucking, you know, whatever, Holly, the white woman, and the guy who slapped the black dude, right? In Cincinnati. Dude, you can see these videos now. They're screaming the N-word and shit. Like, bro, those people, like, they fucking had it coming, man. You know what I'm saying? They're fucking racist cunts, bro. You know? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, it's so problematic. It is. Shit is so fucking problematic. You know? It's like, quit being racist cunts. You know? But, yeah, dude. All right. So that's what we're going to do here. Okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go through what we got on tap, okay? We are going to go through, we're going to look at a little bit about Trumpy, okay? We're going to look at Anna. We're going to do a little hog watch. And then at the end, we're going to go watch that Cenk Jubilee, right? The Jenkies Jubilee. But I'm going to reset the stream when I do it, okay? Yeah, dude, I don't understand the like fucking bringing back the R word and shit and the F slur, like bringing back the slurs is so dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like bringing back the slurs is like really, really dumb. You know what I mean? It is. It's just really stupid. It's senseless. There was no fucking reason to be bringing back the fucking slurs. You know, like none whatsoever. Not a reason in the world to be bringing back slurs. It's so dumb. You know, we are not better off. We are not better off for slurs. Okay? We're not. They're useless. And you know what's crazy about it too is that like people retire words, you know, all the time. You know what I'm saying? They retire like concepts. They retire jerseys. You know what I'm saying? They retire like they give up their names. They retire like a maiden name when they get married. So the idea of like letting go of words and moving on from words, like, or moving on from things that were really important, we do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's so senseless to like hold on to this shit, you know? But again, I think, you know, I mean, dude, I think it's like, I really think it runs deeper than just political differences, because I believe that for them, they like being the out group to woke people. Like, for example, if you offered to break the US in two and to move all the red state people into red states, so everybody in the red states would just be red state people and there would be no Democrats in their states whatsoever, I don't think they would actually agree to that. I think they would balk at that. Okay? I think they would, right? They don't want to be among their own. I mean, they do. They want to have a tribe of their own so they can feel empowered and emboldened and aggressive. But they then want to take that tribe of emboldened selves and they want to go into a blue area. They want to be in proximity to the blue so they can trigger and try and get that negative reaction. Okay? I mean, dude, that's literally just how they are. That's how they are. They thrive. Like when they had, you know, Gab and Parler, those sites were failures because once they went to a site where it was just all them, dude, they didn't like that. They didn't want that at all. They want to be in a site where blue, like Democrats are, but they want it so they can be abusive and get away with it. Okay, so they don't like being in a site where Democrats are when there's content moderation that gives them consequences for the way they behave. They only want to be around Democrats when they have enough power to be able to be harmful and have no consequences. That's what it is. They want consequences for thee, but not for me. Okay? That's their whole game, is they want to be close to people that disagree with them, but they want to have the power of being able to be abusive and with no ramifications whatsoever. It is like a deep kind style of negativity, you know, reaction seeking negativity. Dude, they lost Reddit. Did they lose Reddit? Did Reddit used to be like red-pilled? Was Reddit like really red-pilled and then it like moved blue or something? I never really got involved in Reddit, guys. I didn't. I completely missed Reddit, right? I never got involved in Reddit at all. I never really used it. I knew it existed. I knew it was like a place where like fringe communities could fucking gather. But I'll be honest, I've mostly been mainstream. You know what I mean? I'm mostly been mainstream, right? Uncouth, but not very right dominated. It's like the world's biggest forums. Yeah, I guess technically I don't even know what forums are, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what forums are. I just know, I remember a while back I read a book about YouTube and I read a book about a like YouTube channel that was like sort of a niche, very niche, fucking, you know, a very fucking, you know, niche kind of YouTube environment. And what they did was they released some commercial to YouTube and they used Reddit. Like they put the commercial out to Reddit like forums, and Reddit forums like started sharing it around. And that's how they created the virality, right? Was through Reddit, because there will be really, you know, you could have like a fucking Hello Kitty fan club or whatever on Reddit, and all these serious like Hello Kitty collectors or whatever will all fucking form communities and shit on Reddit. That's what my understanding was. But it feels like it got overtaken by video, right? Like really it was video that ended Reddit, right? Because Reddit was, before video, Reddit was sort of like TikTok, wasn't it? Reddit was like TikTok or YouTube or like Twitter communities, right? Prior to video. But then like scrolling through videos became a thing. Yeah, I don't know. I know that like a while back I tried to sell some season tickets and I used Reddit. Vine, yeah, Vine was the early one, right? But Vine, yeah, Vine I guess was the first incarnation. But Vine kind of came and went. You loved Vine? I never used Vine. For me, I didn't like the short form, the whatever, 10 seconds. That was never my thing, man. You know, the short form, like you can't really tell a story in 10 seconds, right? In 10 seconds, you're just fucking, you know, you're just being a blip, right? You're just a blip. I've never wanted to be a blip. I mean, TikTok, I use TikTok for gaming, and I did get heavily addicted to it when I used it for gaming because I like wanted to blow up on it. I was an early adopter and I saw its viral potential, and I did blow up on TikTok like hugely, very fast. So I put a lot of time into like getting heavily addicted to TikTok and learning the algorithm and shit. And you know, there used to be a site called the Talk Board that showed you what songs were gaining in virality. And so I would go through the Talk Board and sort of see little known songs that were like gaining steam. And I would be the first guy to use those upcoming sounds on gaming videos. So what would happen is I was making gaming videos with these sounds, and then they ended up being the same sounds that people were seeing in the most viral videos, but I was a little predictive with it because I was studying what was gaining. So I was getting them before they became mega viral. And then I was using those sounds on my gaming content. Dude, I had that shit dialed, bro. I did. But then TikTok sort of changed, right? It changed in, you know, I don't know, mid 2021. It started changing when they started moving towards TikTok Shop. And then what they wanted is they wanted homogenized, right? Like at that point, the content changed from like everybody being really different and unique gaming to everybody doing like no face and just pop-up words being like, oh my God, I got the craziest aimbot when I landed in this one spot on the map. And then every like TikTok creator was using the same pop-up text with the same, basically they started making the same video over and over and over again. And that's when I bounced out because I don't really like making widgets. You know what I mean? I don't really like making widgets, but I also kind of like, I knew I was moving into politics though, even before I knew I was moving into politics, right? I mean, it's crazy. I did this thing in 2022, right? Called Phase 1, where I got picked to go to the Phase warehouse to compete to whatever, be in Phase. And it was like, you know, it was chaotic and kind of a disaster. There's a lot of like fake fucking controversies that were swirling around that shit because I was older than everybody and young people were always looking for controversies. But what's crazy about it is at the end of that thing, right, when I got sort of booted from the warehouse and Seabass from FaZe Clan came out on the back patio and said to me, he said, "What is next for you?" And I, at the time I had quit Fortnite, I had gone into GTA, and I was like, you know what, Seabass? I was like, actually, I'm pretty sure I'm going into politics. Now, this was a couple months before the Andrew Tate thing, right? It was actually at phase 1 was the first time that I told somebody I was going into politics. And it was Seabass. And he was like, you know what? We actually need good people in politics. And so I could see that. Yeah, it was crazy. It was on the back patio of FaZe right after I got booted. I was like, actually, I think I'm going into politics. And I had not, I mean, I had been vocal like around like trans rights and shit, you know, on Twitter and shit, but it was before I had done anything political content-wise. But that's when it started. And then a couple months later, I got into it with Andrew Tate, and there was a huge fallout. And then what really sold it for me, guys, was when I went to TwitchCon with my family in 2022. And the reason it sold me because I was there like on fucking doing the gaming thing where I was famous as a gamer. So everywhere I went, I was like taking pictures with people because of gaming. But what happened is a whole bunch of people in San Diego who weren't even gamers were like, oh my God, like they were stopping me and saying, I saw you like stand up to Andrew Tate. And like, I really fucking appreciate that. Like, we need more voices like yours out there. And so it was like these non-gaming people who had never seen me play Fortnite, but it had exclusively seen me stand up to Andrew Tate and were like, you need to do more of that. That's when I was like, I kind of made the internal commitment, right? Isn't that wild? Dude, it's fucking wild, bro. You know what I'm saying? It is wild how that shit works, right? And then it, you know, yeah, that shit is nuts. Dude, amazingly odd that anyone can reach out to and argue with online weirdos. Yeah, well, you know, it's not exactly that though, Lila, because the only reason I got to talk to Andrew Tate was because I was a famous gamer, right? If I hadn't been a famous gamer, I wouldn't have had a chance of talking to him. But he was like, realized the gaming community was his community. And so he went to the biggest, one of the, like the biggest young Fortnite pro. He went on his stream. And that happened to be somebody that I was very connected to, right? This guy named 𝗙𝗪𝗏𝗏. And so it was because he went into the gaming world and I was a famous gamer. It was like kismet. Yeah, because of 𝗙𝗪𝗏𝗏. And that's how, otherwise I would have never talked to him. But like 𝗙𝗪𝗏𝗏 was totally like in my inner circle, and his manager and you know, the gaming team he was on at the time was I was deeply involved with that. My Instagram manager like got a job at that gaming org, right? And so it was the gaming fame. Without the gaming fame, I would have never had that, you know? And yes, he went into the gaming world to groom because that is the spot. That was the place, right? That was his breeding ground, was like middle-aged school boys, right? The same shit that Benny Johnson's doing and the same shit. Yeah, Energy. Dude, Energy was great, man. Dude, they were fucking great, dude. But, and the same shit as Charlie Kirk. They know that, these religious people know how to groom You know what I'm saying? That's what it was called. It was called energy, just like that. You know what I'm saying? Dude, I had to even think about it, dude. I've forgotten, bro. I've forgotten a lot of this shit because I moved on. But, you know, it's crazy though, because I spend a lot of time on Twitter on the For You page because it puts me into this red pill shit, and I like to get juiced and go up against them. But what's wild about it is I was on my following page the other day on Twitter, and so I saw some of the Fortnite people that I still follow, and it's so crazy because everybody from Fortnite, they're like still doing it. They're still so like different names of the gaming orgs, but they are all deeply ensconced in this shit. And dude, I couldn't imagine doing it. I couldn't imagine still doing that, man. I am so glad to be here. Like, here's what I've been meant to do, you know? But yeah, Tate though, the gaming world, the Aiden Ross world, middle school boys, that's their grooming ground. And Charlie Kirk does the same shit. They aim for middle school, high school, young guys going off to college, you know, especially young white men or any type of young men that are, you know, have fitness or like, you know, are, you know, deeply insecure about their looks, right? That's a big part of it. They prey on insecurity, like deeply insecure, lonely people that are worried about their looks, fearful that they're never going to be able to, like, you know, have the things they want. They feed on that fear, right? They like, it's pretty toxic, right? They can sniff out that insecurity, and then they go promise them power and authority, and like, you can do whatever you want. You can break the rules and fucking win. You know what I mean? And you know, and so people, you know, obviously people that raise like really confident kids, their kids are going to avoid that shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And well, but you know what's funny about it though, Social Butterfly, is it's not really confidence. That's the thing. Andrew Tate isn't confident, but he has that thing that looks like confidence to a 12-year-old, because it's the same way that 12-year-olds pretend to have confidence, which is that bravado and that like needing to be fucking revered by everyone around you. It's like, it's that what insecure guys who pretend to be confident look like. And that's what we all do when we're 14 and we walk around like we fucking own the place. Like, oh, you want to step to this? But in reality, if someone took a swing at us, we would fucking run the other way, right? You know what I mean? And they see that though, and they're like, oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So far, your 11-year-old doesn't seem to be manipulated. Yeah, I mean, if the thing about it is if you develop real confidence in your kids, they will become immune to that. Like, for instance, you know what's funny is like, you could look at like my son, right? My son, now, if you talk to him, he's going to say that like he has like struggles with ways that he feels like he's not confident enough. And of course, every 20-year-old does. We all did. But what's crazy about my son is when my son was, I don't know, in like 6th grade, he told me in the middle of an argument that, like, you know, when you grit your teeth, you make me feel like you're going to hit me, and it scares me. And so I don't want you to grit your teeth anymore. And he like had the confidence to put himself out there in the context of his relationship with his dad and call his dad out on a behavior that he found harmful in an open and vulnerable way that I was able to hear. And then I changed my fucking behavior, right? And at first I was like, what are you talking about? My dad used to hit me. This ain't bad. And he stayed with it until I heard it and changed. And like that, for a 6th grader to do that, that is a type of fucking confidence that is like otherworldly, right? And so the other shit, like, he's going to figure it all out. You know what I'm saying? Like when I saw that type of shit, I was like, dude, you have no fucking worries. I know you feel like you don't have it figured out and you're worried that you're not confident enough, but you're gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be fucking fine, right? But that's the shit that I'm talking about. The confidence of like standing in there. You know, there's another time where, you know, they had like a day camp or whatever. It was like outdoor school is what they called it. And there was this really big kid who was like being handsy and like kind of bullying some other kids. And I watched Bryce go up to him and like grab his hands and hold his hands while maintaining eye contact with him while he like told him like, hey man, you need to stop doing what you're doing right now. And it was like, whoa, right? He didn't like puff up and like pretend to kick his ass. He just literally grabbed the guy's hands and like talked to him in a way where I was like, holy shit. I was like, where did he learn how to do that? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of shit that is like, that's real confidence. You know what I mean? That's like real confidence where he wasn't posturing. He's just being direct and shit. And like, I don't know where that comes from. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't recall having anything to do with that. You know what I mean? Because I mean, there were certain times where I stood up to people like a football coach that was abusive, and I've definitely like fought a couple bullies, but I didn't have that really. I mean, I guess I had a little bit of it. I obviously, to be a ninth grader and get my dad a job in California and like move us back to California, I had a little bit of it. I had a little bit of courageous sort of take the reins kind of, I guess, when I was a kid. But I definitely, he's definitely got me beat, right? And and it's different. I mean, you can still be really insecure and have a lot of confidence, right? They're not mutually exclusive. But when what's dangerous is when you're really insecure and you mask the insecurity with bravado instead of developing actual confidence. And that's what we sort of get taught to do as men, to mask our insecurity with bravado and aggression and domination and control. And that really fucks us up. It fucks up the people we do it to, but it fucks us up. Okay? Like, I watched my dad be an authoritarian, and I watched him like hurt himself, even to the point of when he was physically abusing me, I could see in his eyes that like, God damn, dude, he's more fucked up by this than I am, even though I'm fucked up by it. And I'm going to have to go get therapy and shit, but I'm going to be able to go get therapy and heal this. I don't think he's going to be able to heal it. Like, he's so fucked up from hitting me and abusing me that I don't think he's ever getting out. I think he's going to go to his grave in that fucking prison of his own creation. Like, he was really, really short-tempered and aggressive, but all of that behavior fucking harmed him. It really hurt him. His abusiveness hurt him terribly. And it made him weaker, which made him more controlling and more fucking aggressive, which then hurt him more, which then made him overcompensate. And it was like this hideous cycle, You know what I mean? You tore yourself down. Yeah, no, the internal critic is a tough one. And I mean, we all wrestle with that. We do. We all wrestle with the internal critic. Okay. It's really, and I mean, yours gets picked up, like, your parents will create it, and your teachers and your peers, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of that shit gets fucking, you know what I'm saying? A lot of that shit gets fucking, like, it's fucked up. But, Imagine living a life of hatred. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine it, you know? I mean, it's just, it's a lot of shame. It's a lot of shame. It's also easy to think you're a moron if you don't do good in school. Yeah. Well, see, I mean, there's a lot of that, Jimmy Nuisance. Like for me, I was really good at school, so I thought I was a genius, right? But then we had the presidential fitness test, which I couldn't do any of the shit on there. And that made me feel like terrible. And being really competitive and sort of like wanting to be an athlete and being sort of having that, like I have that athletic competitive nature. I just don't have a body that's really built for sports until I found swimming later on. And then I found my sport. But it was really hard to be an athlete's competitor nature, but be terrible at the presidential fitness test, which I see they're bringing back, which is terrible. Because it just enshrines like more glorification of the people that are born with big and fast and strong bodies, because nobody's training in like 5th grade. You know what I mean? You're not training. I tried to weight train. I got a thyroid infection from like overdoing my fucking endocrine system. You know what I mean? From like trying to weight train too hard because I wanted to be more athletic. And so the presidential fitness test, that shit is terrible. But what's hard about the school thing is because everybody learns so different, like our standardized ways of learning mean some people are really smart. They're just not good at the way school teaches you to learn, right? Some people learn verbally. Some people learn with pictures. Some people learn by listening. Some people learn hands-on. And ultimately finding the way for every kid to learn is really important, which is why, you know, AI could be very helpful with that, right? Because AI can look and sort of see the style of learning and help maybe craft lesson plans that kids can like find a way to learn, you know, because some people are just like, for me, I was just good at tests. And in our system, when I was growing up, there were 2 ways that I succeeded. Okay. Way number 1 was that I was good at tests. I could fucking take a test like nobody's business and get a perfect fucking score on every fucking test, right? I was just great. The pressure, the testing, the do or die, you only get one shot. Man, I shine in that way, right? And then the other way was making the teacher like me. I was an overachiever, so the teacher totally loved me. So anytime I was on the border of good and bad, the teacher always gave me the good because the teacher fucking loved me. I never caused any problems. I did great work. I was attentive. I fucking ate up their shit. So I made the teacher love me, and then I was really good at tests. So I was a shoo-in in the American education system, right? Because if you get all the teachers to love you, and you do well on tests, you're a god in the American educational system. But other people are not schmoozers. Not everybody's a schmoozer when they're fucking 10 years old or 12 years old, right? Not everybody. I mean, I was just kind of a really good manipulator because of my dad, right? And so I knew how to like, you know, figure out like, you know what I mean? Because the teachers in every class, right? The teachers are stressed out. There's students that fuck with them and toy with them and cause them problems. And so every teacher, you kind of can learn what their dream sort of student is. And then you just be it, right? And you help them fucking heal the wounds caused by the troublemakers. And then they like worship you. It goes right? You're like essential to them being able to get through their day. And because I had alcoholic fucking codependent parents, I was like incredible at like diagnosing what does this person need emotionally to feel like better. And so I would just give them that emotionally, whether it was attentiveness or like, you know, like seeing the ways they were a great teacher and revering it, appreciation. I would just give them what they needed emotionally to where I was like invaluable. You know what I'm saying? Where like they fucking, I help them get through their day, right? And that was, you know, I pretty much got to do whatever I want when right? When you do that for the teacher, I could come in and be like, I'm really ahead. I would like to go to the library this period and not even be here. And they'd be like, okay, yeah, you're ahead. You've aced every test. Go to the library, right? And I'd go to the library and read 𝗙𝗪𝗡 instead of sitting in fucking class because I was like so, I don't know, invaluable that like I got to do whatever I want. And that's like something that I've always valued, right? Is and I did it in my jobs too, right? Become invaluable to the manager or the person with power in the restaurant. And then I can be on my phone, okay? Like at the last bartending job I had, the GM there, if I was on my phone, he would fucking, right? He would have no problem. I could be on my phone all day long and he didn't care. Other employees, he's like, put that phone away, right? But for me, I like, you know, was his perfect employee and I did my job so well that I could fucking do whatever I want. And that's sort of like, you know, that is what I fucking always tried to do. And that the American system like loves that. Like that's what our system is sort of made on. And when you're a white man, right? If I wasn't a white man, that whole thing would have been harder. But the white men, like that is a system. I mean, it's a system of fucking privilege that is like, I don't know, it's pretty toxic. It's pretty toxic, but it doesn't like fix you. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't fix you. It's a huge skill. Yeah, I mean, for me, though, it's just a product of my environment, right? A lot of people that grow up with like codependent alcoholic parents where you spend your whole childhood walking on eggshells, you develop a hypervigilance that allows you to naturally read people and situations in a way that like, you know how to like, I don't know, you just do it. You don't even think about it. I never thought about, ooh, I'm going to play this teacher. I would just naturally fucking know what the teacher wanted or needed. And then I would like give it to them. Right. And then once I gave it to them, I would have a freedom that the people who weren't fulfilling that role didn't have. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, detecting. I mean, when you think about it, it's actually a good thing when used properly because I can detect what people need emotionally and I can provide it to them, even if they're strangers, right? And you know, like I mean, I've used this example before, like when I used to go out, I was a rock and roller, but you go out and, you know, you're schmoozing and meeting people and stuff. And one of the ways I would always do it is you go out and you see a guy who's like wearing a shirt that's like a bold choice for him. Like maybe his girlfriend talked him into wearing it, or maybe he's trying to do something stylistically, but you can tell this guy is like so self-conscious. And I would be the guy that would go in and fucking notice the shirt and build him up and like provide him like a feeling of like, yeah, you did make the right choice. And yeah, it's okay to be bold. And this kind of bold looks fucking good on you. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, when you do that for people, they fucking love you for it. You know what I mean? That guy, if I did that to a guy in a fucking bar situation I just met, like, dude, he's got my back all night now because I just fucking, right? And it's like, I'm not doing it to get him to have my back. I was doing it because I genuinely could see he was like fucking insecure and I wanted him to like not be insecure because it was actually a cool fucking shirt. You know what I mean? And like, wear it fucking proudly. Like that shit looks good on you. Like, don't be afraid of that shit. You know what I mean? And like, you know, I don't know. I like that role. I like that role. I want to have a role that makes people like feel like they can do it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I mean, even going back to the school shit, right? If your teacher's like really, really frazzled and shit, and there are some people who go in there and they see the frazzled teacher and they want to just push the teacher's buttons and they want to hurt the teacher and they want to exacerbate that frazzle. And I mean, I go in and see the frazzled teacher and I want the teacher to feel like a fucking king or queen. And I feel like I can fucking help them feel like a king or queen. You know what I mean? You know, could never do that sort of thing. You're hostile to authority. Yeah. So, I mean, KB, I have the hostile to authority thing, but it depends on the way the teacher is, right? Because if it's a really controlling teacher that's trying to take control, that's when my hostility to authority comes in, right? So I have the hostile thing as well. I have both, right? Because I can be very, like, if I don't like the authority and the authority's trying to oppress me, it's on. Now I'm going to fucking burn that shit down, you know? But I don't necessarily start there, right? It depends on them. If they don't let me, right? If they didn't let me have what I want, then maybe, you know? Oh, dude, it's fucking, I don't know, dude. When you think about it, I mean, this is kind of what politics is, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, because ultimately, guys, I believe we're all the same. I believe that all of us, in every situation, we just want to get what we want. And every time we don't get what we want, we experience rage. You know what I mean? And then, you know, to varying degrees. But literally, everywhere I go, every minute of the day, I just want to get what I want. And then, like, you ready? Here's an example. Let me give you an example of, like, the rage and how this plays out. Okay? It's something that happened between me and my son the other day, where my headphones broke. I have these Sony noise canceling headphones, and the ear cup broke. And so it wouldn't grip, so the noise canceling doesn't work. And then I was wearing a headband with them, and then I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to get a new pair. So I bought a new pair. But then I went to my son, and I said, do you want this old pair? And he put them on, and he's like, they're not really comfortable. And I'm like, fine, I'm going to throw them away then. And he's like, dude, why are you saying you're going to throw them away, right? But what's crazy about it is me giving him the headphones and him saying, no, I don't want them because they don't fit right and they're not comfortable. I felt rejected, and I felt like I wanted him to want the headphones. And when he didn't, I threatened to, like, throw them away, right? And then he was like, fuck, now I don't want them at all. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you, right? But all of that went without us getting mad at each other. It was like this thing. And then what I did was I went and ordered the piece to fix them, and we're going to fix them together so he can have a fixed pair of headphones, right? But I did that as because I noticed that, like, wow, dude, I was behaving like a weirdo just over the fact that I wanted him to want these headphones, or I didn't want them to go to waste because of a broken fucking hinge on the ear, right? And his reaction was not what I wanted it to be. And so I, like, sniped at him or whatever, right? But, like, dude, what's crazy about this is prior to awareness and mindfulness, my whole life was going through every relationship like that, with a little bit of, like, emotionally reacting, right? When I don't get what I want out of the interaction, and then reacting in a way that creates an emotional response in the person across from me. You know what I'm saying? And dude, I agree with that, Sam. I think when you experience trauma, you become more empathetic. I think hardship creates empathy, which is why people who are really wealthy and don't have any hardship, it's really hard for them to find that empathy, right? But yeah, dude, Gun, thank you, boss. Appreciate you. Dude, let's do a dance goal, and then let's do some politics. All right, we're going to do a dance goal, 10 super chats, light blue, 1 hour, and we're going to see if we can get a dance party going. But yeah, man, dude, I love talking about this shit because, guys, you know what's crazy about this? And listen to me, because I keep saying this because they say that all politics is local. The reason why I love these types of discussions is because this is politics. Politics is not just the US government. Politics is not the governor. Politics is in every relationship. In every relationship we have, somebody has the power and somebody doesn't. And the person who has the power and how they use that power or abuse it, and the person who doesn't have the power, who is trying to get some of the power or trying to undercut the power or get what they want despite the other person having the power. Politics is in every fucking interaction we have, and it's colored by gender and race and age and sex and fucking, wealth status and everything. But it is not just governments. There's a political environment. Like in our family, we have a step family with me and my son and Jenny and me, and she doesn't have any kids. So like there are times where Jenny feels like Bryce has more power than her, or Bryce feels like Jenny has more power than her, and I have more power than both of them because I am the primary of both relationships. And realizing the politics of this family and how to manage those power dynamics is like integral to us having an open and connected relationship versus a lot of fighting and avoiding and manipulation, right? And the power dynamics are involved in every fucking relationship interaction we have. Always. You know what I'm saying? And being cognizant of that is like really helpful to figure shit out, Which is why you may have gone to, and so is dynamics really politics? No, Brady, it's power. Power is politics, okay? And so politics is power. Who has it? Who doesn't? And how are the people that have it and don't have it jockeying for it, right? And so that's what it is, right? It's like, it's not about the dynamics, it's about the power, okay? But there is political power in every interaction and relationship. You may have noticed when you go to a job, you notice that the people get promoted, and the people who get promoted are not always the skilled ones or good at their job or good looking or fucking whatever. Maybe sometimes they're not even dependable. But the way you advance in jobs, right? They tell you go to a job, do your job well, and you'll get promoted. It's like, no, the way you get promoted, it's not letting you send a message with $2. I mean, no, it should. So the way you get promoted is by being good at the politics. Okay, if you can go into a work environment, recognize the political power structure in that environment and play it right, you move up the ladder, right? And if you can't play the politics, you don't move up the ladder. And that's what it is. It's not about fucking job. It's about who knows how to play the politics, right? You know what I'm saying? But when you start realizing that there's a political dynamic, I think it's most important to realize, guys, as a parent, okay? And here's why I think it's important to realize as a parent. Because a parent is an autocrat. They have autocratic, dictator-like power over their children. And learning how to be a parent while leaving your kid feeling empowered without also losing your authority, right? And Green, let's go, baby, right? Is what's really complicated, okay? That's the thing that really fucks up parenting is like abusing your power as a parent and not even realizing you're abusing it and then creating, there you go, Golding, let's go, baby. You know what I mean? Oh, shit, dude, Brady, let's go. Yeah, I think it starts with parenting. Like you will notice, guys, if you look in a prime difference between liberals and conservatives, the first thing you'll notice in a conservative family is the parents usually are much more authoritarian and dictatorial with the way they exercise power. Okay? Like conservative families have a tendency of like, you have to respect me because I'm above you and I control you. And if you fuck around, I'll fucking take away all your shit. I will fucking hurt you until you relent. And there's like an overarching, like, you must obey. And right? Oh, let's go, dude. Marisol's in there. Matt, everybody's getting in here. You know what I'm saying? And liberal parenting is much more about, like, I don't need to take power over you. Dude, Jimmy Nuisance, let's go, baby. Shake the Groot thing, dude. Dude, what's a knock? Dude, what's your currency, bro? I love it. There's a creator I like that is Ashley Knock. And so what is a knock? What currency is that? That's amazing. Dude, let's go, baby. 20 knocks. It's Norwegian kroner. All right, let's go, dude. Oh, NOK. I love it. Dude, 20 Norwegian kroner equal 0.3 cents. Oh, dude, I don't care. Let's go, baby. 0.3. I love it. 0.6, 0.30. Dude, how'd you pull that shit out? You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that's one. Dude, it's perfect, Jimmy. Thank you, boss. I love that it's called Knox. Dude, so Jimmy, you guys, like, I had a girlfriend. I lived with her for several years, 3.5 years. She was from Norway, right? Well, her mom was from Norway. She was born here, but they went to Norway every year for Hitta, right? During the summer, they would go. They had one of those fucking houses out on the water, on the rocks or whatever. So they went every fucking year, man. It was a big deal. Dude, her mom was fucking awesome, dude. Yeah. Let's go, baby. Dude, crazy. Dude, SK, let's go. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm probably too permissive. I think as a parent, I was too permissive. I was definitely authoritative at times, but I was also too permissive, right? But I think it's better to be a little on the permissive side than the authoritarian side, right? It is. It's less harmful. It may not like get the best results, but it's definitely like can be less harmful. Many parents are permissive and authoritative. Yeah, I'm a little bit of both. I mean, it's like my thing is I guess for the most part, like my mission was not to, like, every time I found myself controlling just for the sake of control, right? I would fucking try to change that. Well, you know what's funny though, Alchemist, is spare the rod, spoil the child. Dude, you know what that means, right? Like, spare the rod, spoil the child. People are like, if you don't hit them, if you spare the rod, you're going to spoil the child. But I believe that's wrong. I believe it means you're not supposed to hit them. You're supposed to spoil them, right? It says spare the rod. Don't hit them. Spoil the child, right? Fucking cover them with love, right? Don't hit them and fucking spoil them with love and attention and connection, right? That's absolutely what that means. Because if you go to shepherds, okay, shepherds, you will never see a shepherd take his staff and start beating the fucking sheep with it. They use it to gently guide the sheep, okay? They use it to fucking gently guide them and play with them, right? They don't fucking swing it at them, right? I always read that spare the rod, spoil the child means you're supposed to spoil the child, right? You know what I mean? Let's go. Oh, shit. All right, dude, 7 to 10. Let's go, baby. Ah. All right. Shepherds have crooks? Yeah. Guide your children, don't control them. Absolutely. Dude, 23 OD, let's go, baby. Dude, I love it. I love that face. It's amazing. There's a joke in that. What do the White House and shepherds have in common? I don't know. They're both filled with sheep. They both like to, herd sheep. Oh, shit. They both have crooks. Oh, yes. Nice. All right, you guys ready for a little bit of politics? Are we ready for some fucking politics, guys? I think it's time for a little bit of the political, baby. So let's go. All right, let's get into this. Dude, first off, let's look at the fucking, what do we got here? What are we looking at? I wanted to look at a couple of things. I'm intrigued about the Trump aide, right? David Pakman and the Trump aide. Let's fucking look at this video, right?
We are going to be speaking to Donald Trump's former deputy press secretary, Sarah Matthews.
Oh shit, dude, Sarah Matthews. All right, let's see who Sarah Matthews is, shall we? Dude, I'm intrigued by this, right? Texas Dems, yes. No, we're going to talk about the Texas Dems, the walkout, and Pritzker. Dude, yeah, we know he's going to be wearing what, Miller's Outpost? Right? Sarah Matthews. Miller's Outpost, 1988. Dude, let's go. Dude, the Texas Dems, I love it. All right, so here's the person. She's Republican in exile, okay? And she's a past White House deputy press secretary. Okay, she was a presidential campaign spokesman, Capitol Hill staffer. She's from Ohio. All right. Oh. Dude, I like what the Texas Dems are doing. Did they thwart it? Did they shut it down? We're gonna look at that. But I want to look at this first, okay? Because I'm intrigued by her. Okay, because I'm intrigued by her takes on this, because she was a deputy press secretary. So who is the deputy press secretary right now? It is, dude, the current White House press secretary. Look at the AI, dude. This is why you don't trust AI. Right? I typed in deputy press secretary now, and it's saying that it's Karine Jean-Pierre. Dude. Dude, look at that, bro. AI is so fucking lame, bro. Like, you know what I mean? All right, so it's 𝗙ście𝗶𝗆𝗍, American political aide who's been serving as the deputy press secretary. All right. Dude, AI is terrible, bro. So this is the current deputy press secretary. All right. Oh my God, dude. Dr. Oz. Dude, this guy doesn't look real, bro. What the fuck are we doing, bro? Jesus, you never trust the AI replies? Yeah. Dude, AI, I mean, I look at it, but you got to really check that shit if it's important. Dude. But yeah, see, the thing about this, though, I see him talking about the trade shit here, effective tariff rate, but yada, yada, yada. But the thing about the tariffs, guys, is we're not going to see the reality of these until later, okay? We're not going to see the reality of the tariffs for like a year, dude. Dude, Gen X, let's go. Oh my God, your mom is, no way, breast cancer? Dude, everybody, let's rally around Gen X, all right? I'll put some energy out into the universe. Everybody rally. Thank you, Gen X. Everybody rally around Gen X. All right? Throw some vibes out for her mom. Dude, breast cancer is a fucking bitch. How old is your mom, Gen X? How old is she? That shit is like, it's fucked up, bro. Dude, breast cancer is gnarly. 73? Oh, shit. Well, at least she's not like crazy young. Dude, every time I hear a woman get breast cancer in her 30s, I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? You know, I'm really sorry about that. But all right, we're going to vibe. We're going to vibe for you, Gen X. Thank you.
We are going to be speaking to Donald Trump's former Deputy Press Secretary, Sarah Matthews. This conversation was yesterday on my Substack Live. You can get these live as they happen at substack.davidpakman.com. Very interesting conversation. Let's get right into it.
Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to be speaking with Sarah Matthews, who served as Donald Trump's deputy press secretary. If I have the dates right, Sarah, you started in 2020.
Dude, look at her house, dude. She's got the sliding wood doors. I love those, right? This house is crazy. Look at that trim. That's nice trim. That's like the trim we got in here. We got some little craftsman touches. I'm sorry. The first thing I noticed is the house. I'm looking at the recess lighting, right? They got that fucking, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I'm looking at this shit and being like, damn, dude, nice digs.
And of course, shortly after the January 6th, 2021 fiasco, you left. So your tenure was about a year. Is that right?
Yeah, so I had worked on his 2020 reelection campaign for about a year prior to that as a spokesperson. And then they moved me over to the White House to be deputy press secretary for about the last 7 or 8 months of the administration until you highlighted until I resigned on January 6th.
And you
Good for
worked
her,
under
man.
Kayleigh McEnany that entire time?
Yes, so Kayleigh McEnany was the press secretary while I was at the White House, and I was one of the deputies underneath her.
So I want to eventually, like the arc I'm thinking of is we'll eventually get to taking your knowledge of what it was like during the time you were there, applying it to what's happening right now, and getting your thoughts as to the way that things tend to operate behind the scenes. But maybe before we get to that, when you were working in the Trump White House during this period of time.
See, one thing I just got to say, because I know I typed it in chat, but the fact, like, this is kind of what separates, right? I feel like J6 was the separator, right? You know what I'm saying? Meaning that everybody who was a Republican, who was in Donald Trump's corner, that they went and they saw J6, everybody who was like, man, you know what? No, J6, I just can't be on the Trump train anymore. This is where I get off. Right? Those are the people that are still reachable. Everybody, though, who like crossed that and saw J6 and the lying about the election and just carried on with the lies, you know that they're grifting or they are genuinely dangerous. Right? You have people like Nancy Mace, who originally was like, screw Trump on J6, but now she's like, oh, if I go pro-Trump, maybe I can be governor of South Carolina. So now she's hungry for power and politics, and so she's sold everything to suck on the Trump knob, hoping she can become governor, which she's not going to become governor. There's no fucking way, boss. I will fight that if I have to go to South Carolina and fucking sword fight people in the streets, dude. But you know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing when you see somebody do something so outrageous, right? Like if the Democrats, if fucking, you know, if Barack Obama had led a crew of angry Democrats, you know, or Hillary Clinton after she lost the election in 2016 had led a crew of angry Democrats to smash the windows and fucking smear human feces all around the Capitol, like I'd be looking for another political party, guys. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I would not be like, dude, what the fuck is going on here, bro? You know what I'm saying? Dude, but the people that cross that line, they're not coming back. You know what I'm saying? Those people are not coming back.
Time. What was the sort of, you know, sometimes there's a culture of fear. Oh my goodness, the boss is furious. People are scared. People are scrambling to try to avoid getting caught in fire from whoever is going to point at them. Sometimes there's a culture of protecting the principle. So, for example, when in December of 2024, I went to the White House and was part of a group of creators that met with then President Joe Biden, the vibe to me was limit access, sort of restrict and keep this very neat and tidy and not allow it to get beyond a sort of controlled vibe, so to speak. So the point of the question is, what was the environment like when you were there in terms of something just happened? What do we need to do? How do we need to react?
Yeah, I think the Trump West Wing was a really interesting place because it was a lot of big personalities while I was there. And I think that that is still the same thing in the second administration. And there was a lot of inner fighting going on and knifing, like people just constantly going behind each other's back, going to the boss with things and trying to get him to do things the way that they wanted. And then obviously there's
Wait,
also
sorry.
a level of managing the
I
principle.
got to go back here a minute because I got
Something
distracted.
just
All
happened.
right, here we go.
What do we need to do?
I got
How
to
do we
pay
need to
attention to
react?
this.
Yeah, I think the Trump West Wing was a really interesting place because it was a lot of big personalities while I was there. And I think that that is still the same thing in the second administration. And there was a lot of inner fighting going on and knifing, like people just constantly going behind each other's back, going to the boss with things and trying to get him to do things the way that they wanted. And then obviously there's also a level of managing the principle, and that kind of comes with working for any politician, but for Trump to the nth degree, like trying to manage him and keep him happy and stay in his good graces was sometimes a delicate tightrope. And I think especially in that period after the election, when he was upset and he was pushing these claims of voter fraud, which obviously we know there's zero evidence of, and he's never been able to prove. But I think a lot of people were kind of avoiding him during that time because they were afraid of his outbursts and how he would react. Or I remember specifically when I was working for 𝗙lie McEnany, he wanted her to do briefings on the subject from the podium. And so she would actively avoid him in the West Wing in those months following the election because
Jesus.
she knew that that was against the Hatch Act and something that she didn't really want to step in. And so I think it is interesting just seeing now with the second administration and how it doesn't seem like much has changed, but it seems like there's fewer people who are willing to push back on him. And so he's just kind of getting away with everything. And it doesn't seem like there's those kinds of voices in there, where I do think that there were some of those kinds of voices, at least when I was working for him.
Yeah, see, that's the primary difference is in the first term, there were guardrails because there were people in a lot of higher up positions that even though they had been appointed by Trump, they still had respect for the laws, the Constitution, the sort of ethics of, how you operate, governmental power. And now it's not like that. Like everybody in there will break the law. They'll step on the Constitution. They don't give a fuck about like the way things are supposed to operate or what's legal or ethical. They are just concerned with like getting theirs or helping Trump get his if that's going to be a piece of the pie for them, right? And there's no guardrails, like zero. Thank you, Gord. Let's go, baby. One more and we have a dance party. Dude, this is crazy, though. This is like, dude, and hearing about that, too, about how all the backstabbing, right? Which is another thing when you have a leadership thing like Trump, who he's the type of leader that is not consistent, right? His leadership is based on his mood, right? If he's in a good mood, you could break the window and he'd be like, no big deal. If he's in a bad mood, you are slightly imperfect and he's probably erupting. And so because of that inconsistency, right? Dude, long ears, let's go, baby. Because of that inconsistency, you develop this sort of like everybody's trying to placate you. Everybody knows that that the way to get what they want is through you being like jazzed, right? And then it's like the fights begin, right? Because now everyone's trying to get in your good graces, trying to be on your good side. We did hit goal. Let's go. We're gonna watch a few more minutes of this, probably like 5 minutes, and then we're gonna fucking dance it up. Good job, guys. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
It sounds like it's assumed in what you're saying that he really believed the claims about the election being stolen. I mean, this is something we've gone back and forth about a lot. Does he know that he lost, or does he saying this stuff? At least at the time you were there, he seemed to be what we might call like a true believer.
He was definitely told by people that he lost. So it's not like he can claim ignorance. I think that he was being told by people that he had lost, and then he stopped listening to those people and started listening to the people who were telling him what he wanted to hear. And so then he was believing the conspiracy theories and pushing those out. And so I think when you tell your something enough, so many times, you actually start to believe it. And
Absolutely.
so I think that he knew in the immediate aftermath of the election that he had lost, but I think over time he's convinced himself that it was rigged and stolen, and that he was the actual winner.
And the people around him who were telling
Jesus.
him that, is your sense that they were true believers, or they saw it as a way to get closer to Trump?
I think a little bit of both. I think that, you look at someone like Rudy Giuliani, and obviously someone I once held in high regard, and, it's just how the mighty have fallen, and what a shame it is to look at where he's at now. But I think that, he saw it as an opportunity to get close to Trump and kind of be his right hand. But then I think maybe there's a little bit of cuckoo-ness happening up there too. So I think that,
Dude, Giuliani is absolutely mental, right? He lost it like so bad, dude. You know what I'm saying? He lost it like so bad. Giuliani did. I've not seen anyone like lose their wits more than him, really. I mean, he was always a little bit whacked out, but I feel like he just went so far over the deep end, right? He just went, he reminds me a little bit, I feel like Nancy Mace is a little bit similar, right? Nancy Mace, doesn't she feel like somebody who's just gone over the fucking deep end? She's not broke yet, but she's gone so far over the fucking edge that you just realize, like, yeah, she's actually like mentally ill. Like something's deeply wrong with her,
Look at like Sidney Powell. I think that that's someone who's a little cuckoo as well. So
Dude,
those
Sidney
are
Powell,
folks who I think
crazy.
saw an opportunity though and seized it. So some combination of the two.
How is it that a president is sort of kept, or let me put it a different way. We read about different administrations that sometimes the president isn't getting the full story of what's going on out in the world. So like as an analogy, in Jonathan Allen's book and in Jake Tapper's books, a lot is reported about how in the aftermath of the June 27th debate that went so terribly for Joe Biden, Biden wasn't getting the real story about the polling. And so the story is the people around him were saying it's still within the margin of error. There hasn't been a big change. What I want to ask you about is this concept of, from the outside, it just sort of seems like Trump's known to watch Fox News all the time. Biden would read all these newspapers. How could it be that they're not getting the full story? Like, is it what are the ways in which a president might be kept isolated from all of the information?
Yeah. So what you bring up about Biden is a really good point, and how his staff kind of shielded him from the truth. And I really think that they did a disservice to him.
Dude, they absolutely did. See, I don't understand. And I think it was just an age with Biden, because I don't understand how Biden could not have known, like, his poll numbers were tanking. There were like fucking protests everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, with Biden, like, I think it was just his age. He was not able to fucking process how badly the Gaza thing was shredding him, and how badly the inflation was just hurting him, not because he had done anything wrong, but every government that navigated their country through the pandemic got replaced by the opposite party, except Mexico. Mexico's the only fucking place. Everyone else, they got their clock cleaned. And in America, Kamala only lost by 1.4%. But I mean, if Biden had been younger, he may have noticed that Gaza was shredding the party and that the inflation was fucking causing turnover in every other government. And he may have just fallen on the sword and realized, right, that like, ooh, I got to opt out and take all the bad with me. And then another Democrat can come behind me and shred Trump, which would have been great. Like he could have taken. Yeah, we're going to do a dance party in 3 minutes, guys. All right. I got to watch a little of the video. All right.
But I'll admit that there is a little bit of that happens in Trump world too. I know when I was there, we would print out news articles for him that we knew would make him happy so he could like read the headlines. If we were worried he might be in a bad mood or there was something that was upsetting him, we would print out these positive news articles or positive tweets praising him to kind of, butter him up and get him in a good mood.
Butter him up.
I think that, that is still happening to this day. I'm sure you've seen the reporting about the woman who works for him, who they've dubbed the human printer. And she literally like was carrying around a printer with him during the 2024 campaign cycle and on the golf course and everything, and prints out these things for him. And it's a way of buttering him up, but it was also a way of kind of filtering what you wanted to put in front of him, because you have to be really careful with what you present Trump with and what you put in front of him, because he has a tendency when he hears something, it kind of sticks in his brain and then he'll just repeat it. And so whether he's reading something.
Yeah, we've noticed the jails and prisons and mental institutions and asylums, right? They're from jails and prisons and asylums and mental institutions. Oh, yeah, they're right. Everything he fucking he's like a broken fucking record, dude. Jesus. Yeah. Isn't that brutal? Like that they have to butter him up. Can you imagine having to carry a printer around and print a tweet that says you're good, right? Windmills, electric boats. Oh my God. Yes. Fucking poisoning the blood. Like, his greatest hits are a mile long. They're eating the cats and dogs. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Jesus.
That you put in front of him, or he hears something on Fox News, you'll notice he'll have a tendency to do that. So you kind of have to be careful with what information you're putting in front of him and presenting him with. And so that was a way that we were, at least from the press office, we tried to filter things through to him to kind of control what he had eyes on.
It seems from the public so hard to believe that arguably the most powerful person in the world might not realize what the world is saying about them. Like in other words, if Trump gets this sanitized version with the printed positive tweets and headlines, you would imagine that he's going to, when he's looking at Twitter at the time or watching Fox or whatever, he would see that there is another narrative. Or you could apply the same question to Biden when he's getting one set of polls from the people allowed to brief him on polling. You would think if he opens up even the New York Times or turns on MSNBC,
right,
he would see the news about the polling actually isn't looking so good. But does it just not work that way?
Yeah, but also I think in Biden's case, he was just too old, dude. He is not scoping around. I don't think he was concerned about his polls. I think he was more concerned about like being a good husband, stressed out because his kid is fucking, right? Like in the end there, Biden, every day, he was probably reading all the news articles or the information about his kid getting fucking investigated and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, they were hardcore after Hunter. That had to take a lot of mental space, I would imagine.
I think that maybe it's just like a thing with their old age that they weren't as in the know and invested in, reading all these different news sources. Like obviously
Absolutely.
Trump has his favorites, and every now and then, you'll see like a Truth Social post or something where clearly something got through that maybe was on like a CNN or an MSNBC that he didn't like, and he caught some clip of it. I feel like usually it's because like Fox News is airing that clip and doing some discussion about it, if that makes sense. So, but for the most part, I think it is his media diet is pretty filtered. And I think the same goes for Biden. And so, yeah, it is kind of a crazy concept to think of, these two powerful men who were, holding the highest office in our land. But I think maybe it was just a product of their age and how old they were.
Yeah, I think it's an age thing too. Because I know, like, even with me, my son or young people his age are consuming a lot more media than somebody my age. Like, there's only so much media I can consume in a day, right? And so I think their age was definitely fucking, was definitely impacting it. And the main difference, though, between Biden and Trump is that Biden's not a fucking moron, okay? So Biden understands the nuances of foreign policy and the nuances of fucking government, and he understands the Constitution. He understands how the law works. And Trump is like a big fucking dumb moron, idiot, selfish piece of shit who's just like, mine. I want to do this. And everyone's got to be like, whoa, you big fucking 78-year-old fucking Depends wearing toddler. Like, shut the fuck up, bitch. Shut up. Right? Or, oh, hey, here's a good tweet about you, big guy. Oh, poopies. Right? Dude. All right, you ready? Let's do the dance party, though. We're just about halfway done with this. So we did get a dance party. We're going to fucking do our favorite song from Sweden. We're going to groove out real fast to our favorite song from it's called Deja Vu. A little Deja Vu from Stefan Karlin. Let's go, baby. Dude, Don Jr.'s laptop. Dude, you see Don Jr.'s tits? Homie's got some nice tits, boss. I don't care what anybody says. Don Jr. has some nice tits. Dude, the setup is live, dude. It's good shit. Dude, Donnie, don't blame it on the soy milk, Donnie. We know you got some nice tits. All right, you ready? Let's get it, baby. Let's go.
Get
Oh, let's go, baby. Gotta get your dance on. Do you need
anything like I need you?
Whoa, let me catch my breath.
I've got no place to be alone, my friend. He cut his wrist instead. There's your answer. You better save yourself, or else nothing like success. I would rather be in hell than regret.
Do you need anything like I need you? It's over. Oh, do you need anything like I need you? Woo! You know I do.
Denial. These are not my words. Tell me where are mine? Most of the time, wet my face with reality and permit me to breathe before I do it again. Do you need anything like I need you? It's over. Do you need anything like I need you? Do you need anything like I need you? It's over. Do you need anything like I need you? Do you need anything like I need you? It's over. Do you need anything like I need you? Do you need anything like I need you? It's over. Do you need anything like I need you?
Let's go. Woo! All right. Dude, what a song, bro. Your son was just jumping on the bed. Good. Jumping on the bed is good for ya. All right. Dude, I love the dance parties. I'm going to be honest. I love the dance parties, guys. Dude, maybe we'll do another. We may have to do another. Right? We may have to do another dance goal, right? Maybe do 2 dance parties. The band I was in, the one in there in shit. Dude, I need to put the link in the fucking description of the videos. The link to the music. It's called The Wanteds. It's better to look it up by the records, right? If you look up Failure Looks So Good, that is the band version, right? And then the Let Go Afterglow. So Let Go Afterglow was The Wanteds as a solo project. And then Failure Looks So Good was later The Wanteds as a 3-piece band. But because there was a British pop band called The Wanted, if you search for The Wanteds, it's kind of hard to find, right? But I'm going to have a political punk website up in the not too distant future, right? Dude, are there commands? Oh, I need to get Nightbot involved here so we can have commands and shit. Let me get on that. I'm going to fucking get on that shit. All right? But anyway, right now, let's get back to our fucking political grumblings. All right? Don't have too long. We're going to watch a little more of this.
That their staffs are able to kind of get away with that.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I just imagine, if my team tells me, David, people are loving what you said about Epstein. And if I go and look at my emails, YouTube comments, and my Twitter, and I go, no, they don't. It's very clear that it seems like it would be so easy, but that's interesting to hear from you. One more thing for the context, and then I want to move into some of what's going on now. Sometimes you can observe Trump's social media behavior, and it'll be like overnight, there's not more than a couple hour gap between posts, which leads people in the media to go, is he up all night? Are these pre-written and someone's sending them out overnight? What are the dynamics of these sort of like all night?
See, this is really interesting. I want to go back here and fucking see this again, right? David Pakman should have been a male model. I mean, he's all right looking. I don't know about that. Right? He's a looker though. He's got nice hair, dude. He's got newscaster hair, but I don't think he's really model material. Dude, I think Daniel's taking a shot at him, though. Daniel was the guy who coined the Miller's Outpost clothing style. But I fucking am intrigued by this as well because of Trump's, like, tweet schedule. Like, the guy obviously... Dude, well, when you think about it, is we notice how he falls asleep. Right? During the day, often he falls asleep in meetings. He falls asleep at events. I'll be honest. I think Trump fucking is tremendously ADD. And I think he has a lot of trouble sleeping. He drinks Diet Cokes all day, right? The Diet Coke button. So he's like jacked up on caffeine all day. And then what ends up happening is he has trouble sleeping. And then he fucking naps multiple times during the day and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's definitely a fucking no. I don't think David Pakman is gay, is he? Keith Edwards is gay. David Pakman's not gay. Is he? No. Doesn't he have a kid? He's married and has a kid, doesn't he?
Team tells me, David, people are loving what you said about Epstein. And if I go and look at my emails, YouTube comments, and my Twitter, and I go, no, they don't. It's very clear that it seems like it would be so easy, but that's interesting to hear from you. One more thing for the context, and then I want to move into some of what's going on now. Sometimes you can observe Trump's social media behavior, and it'll be like overnight, there's not more than a couple hour media text, and very clear that it seems like it would be so easy, but that's interesting to hear from you.
I was gonna say there are plenty of gay dudes who have families and shit, but I don't think he's gay, right? I'm not getting that vibe.
One more thing for the context, and then I want to move into some of what's going on now. Sometimes you can observe Trump's social media behavior, and it'll be like overnight, there's not more than a couple hour gap between posts, which leads people in the media to go, is he up all night? Are these pre-written and someone's sending them out overnight? What are the dynamics of these sort of like all night social media?
Trump
sprees?
at 2 a.m., baby.
Something the behind the scenes of which you were privy to when you were in the role as deputy press secretary? Like, was he known to be up all night putting out messages?
It wasn't something that I was necessarily privy to or that my role would have touched, but I do think that for the most part, these are messages that are coming from him, especially those ones that are in the late hours, or where you get like a 2 or 3 a.m. post from him.
Tweet storm.
Those are more than certainly coming from him and not scheduled posts. And I think it's pretty easy to differentiate between
Yeah.
ones that are written by him and ones that were pre-written by staff.
Yeah, the ones that are written by him are fucking 90 paragraphs of rambling. Now, what's crazy about this though is like I've heard like conflicting stories. Like sometimes, you know, it's like he's there typing the message. Some other times people say he's like, you know, he's dictating to somebody who then prints it out. And he like looks at the printout and then has them send it, right?
You know, he has his own flair that he adds to his posts, as you can probably imagine.
And so in those scenarios, he's just sitting up all night posting.
Yeah, that would be my best guess is,
Wow.
and that's what my assumption was when working for him and looking at his posts now.
So let's talk about the
Who cares? I mean, I care. I like to imagine what he is. He's a fucking lone guy sitting in bed just raging at the world, right?
It's the last 24 hours and it's the last 7 days and it's the last couple of weeks, this Epstein stuff. One of the things that I'm finding interesting is we have these conflicting denials and explanations where they can't all be true. You know, it's sort of like there was no fire and I'm not the person who started it type of stuff. So we were told there's no Epstein list, and also Trump's not on the list, and also he's on the list, but because Obama, Hillary, and Comey put him on the list. And it's like, well, okay, but all of these,
and it's a hoax, and fucking Santa created the list. It's actually Santa's list, but Santa was drunk and he spelled his name so it looks like Epstein.
Things can't be true. What does your experience tell you about how you see this evolution of what the statement is? Is it that there's just an initial denial with the idea that maybe the story goes away, and as it doesn't go away, you have to come up with new things? Are people talking to him about, you might not want to say this, you might want to say that, or is it just he's flying solo and putting out whatever comes to mind? How do you imagine the reaction to the Epstein stuff is developing?
I think it's largely Trump dictating the strategy and him just throwing whatever he can at the wall and seeing what will stick. I think he thought most controversies that he's faced in the past, he is like Teflon. It seems like nothing has an ability to stick with him, and that the news cycle
So
kind
he's
of quickly moves
very
on and
arrogant
we shift into
in
the
that
next
way.
topic. And so this is kind of uncharted territory where it seems like
Yeah, he is like so arrogant with the changing of the news cycle and the fact that he can just lie and bullshit his way out of it. I mean, think about it, guys. They've let him for 5 years insist that he won the election in 2020, and nobody's ever really given him any consequences for that. I mean, even Tucker Carlson got some consequences of being fired from Fox because of the Dominion voting judgment, right? But Trump has had no consequences. And now, like, you know, he's like, oh, you're still talking about Epstein? He's got to be truly baffled that it's just not instantaneously evaporating.
isn't used to a story sticking around for this long. And so I can tell that he's getting frustrated with it. And that's where you see him throwing out these different excuses where you have the White House strategy was clearly for them to say, no, look, he thought Epstein was a creep, and that's why he kicked him out of his club. And Trump obviously had a different strategy. He decided to go with oh, well, no, it's the Obama and Comey. They're after me. It's like Russia, 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 witch hunt. And I think he thought that would play into his base and get them riled up. But obviously, this issue goes so much deeper for his base. It's something that they are really invested in. And so they're not being fooled by his distractions or his lies that he's trying to come up with and spin. And so and then now we've seen him shift to, oh, well, it was over a business dispute. He was poaching people from the club. And so it's interesting because, like you mentioned, not all of these things can make sense. They don't necessarily seem to go together. And so it makes me curious what the truth is. And I think we're inching a little bit closer toward the truth. I do think that it more than likely it had to do with him getting upset with Epstein over maybe repeatedly poaching people from Mar-a-Lago. And I think that there's a reason behind that, because I believe that Trump knew what Epstein was up to.
Absolutely.
And specifically, when Trump was asked about it on a recent gaggle on Air Force One, he was asked about how these were young women that Epstein was poaching. And he acknowledged that one of those women was one of Epstein's accusers, who worked at
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago. And she was approached by Ghislaine Maxwell.
See, that's the key. So this woman was Donald Trump's deputy press secretary for the end of his term in 2020. The last 7 months of his term until January 6th, she resigned after the shit went down at the Capitol. But she had been a campaign spokesperson for him during the 2020 campaign. And then, no, the woman on screen here, Sarah Matthews. She was a campaign spokesperson for Trump in 2020. Then she was his deputy press secretary for the last 7 months of his term. But yes, she's referring to Virginia. But there is no doubt, guys, that Trump knew. I mean, think about it. Think about Trump's excuse to say, yes, I severed my relationship with Jeffrey Epstein because he was stealing girls from Mar-a-Lago. But like, if he was just like hiring girls from the spa to go work in his office, you wouldn't sever a relationship, right? Why are you hiring all my girls? I'm going to pay them more so they don't leave Mar-a-Lago to go work for you. Like, he knew what Jeffrey Epstein poaching these girls, he knew exactly what that meant for the girls. And that's becoming glaringly obvious, which is why he called Epstein a creep. It's why he severed the relationship, kicked him out of the club, because he knew those girls were going into the sex trade, because he knew what Jeffrey Epstein's trade was. Obviously. Otherwise, this would have been a non-issue. Epstein was only stealing young girls. The same Jeffrey Epstein that he said, yeah, he likes girls as much as I do, but he likes them on the young side. You know what I mean? Like, we know, like, without a doubt that like, you know, at the very least, without Trump even admitting his guilt in the sexual participation, Trump has basically admitted that he knew what Epstein's business was. He knew it. We know he knew it. We know he was involved in it, but this was quite a startling admission for him. I was really surprised to hear him go that route, right? He had stuck to his story that Jeffrey was a creep and he kicked him out. I don't know why Trump decided to go with, you know, to dredge up Virginia Giuffre and the whole Mar-a-Lago thing. I feel like it's going to bite him in the ass in the end. I think it's going to really come back to haunt him.
When she was 16. And so it leads one to believe, if you're kind of connecting the dots here, that Trump Epstein's accusers Epstein was still up to. And specifically, when Trump was asked about it on a recent gaggle on Air Force One, he was asked about how these were young women that Epstein was poaching. And he acknowledged that one of those women was one of Epstein's accusers, who worked at Mar-a-Lago. And she was approached by Ghislaine Maxwell when she was 16. And so it leads one to believe, if you're kind of connecting the dots here, that Trump knew what Epstein was poaching them for and using them for work for, because it's not like
100%.
Epstein had his own golf club or resort that he needed these people to come work at. So what was he using them for work for? And I think that, you know, one can kind of connect the dots and see that Trump probably had insight into what Epstein was doing and what he was up to. And so I just think that that's pretty damning, though, when you look at it, because I think that Trump may present it as like this was some heroic act, like, oh, I kicked him out of my club. But at the end of the day, I think a normal, decent human being who had that type of insider knowledge would have called the cops
immediately.
He would have said, hey, this guy is partaking in child human trafficking.
Yeah, you know what's funny is a normal human being would have turned him in long before he poached your employees from your club, right? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like a normal human being would have gotten out of there long time before that. Oh, you're a child sex trafficker? Yeah. Let's fucking put a stop to that right now, dude.
And tip them
Yeah.
off. So
That's interesting that that's your view, because that's kind of where I'm landing. And I know that there are people who are saying, oh, what Trump's covering up is that he was a client of Epstein's, and, there were these girls that Trump was involved
He
in.
was definitely a client too.
Assault of. And I mean, listen, if at some point there's evidence of that, certainly that would be huge.
Dude,
But
I know he was a client. I just know it in my fucking bones. But even without it, this is kind of what I said before, that even without it, it still harms him. Because even if he was never a client, he knew it was going on and he let it go on around him in Mar-a-Lago. He let it go on. But I mean, we know there have been oodles of fucking victims, and not just the children involved in this, right? I mean, he didn't mess around with 𝗙ص𝗍𝗪. A lot of people talk about, well, 𝗙ص𝗍𝗪 said Trump was never involved. But you guys got to remember, I had it out with a bot on Twitter the other day, because a bot on Twitter responded to something with this paragraph of 𝗙ص𝗍𝗪's testimony saying Trump was never involved. He never got involved with me. I never saw him around the girls I was with. But you got to remember, 𝗙ص𝗍𝗪's dad worked at Mar-a-Lago. Okay, so Donald Trump was not ever going to fuck around with 𝗙ص𝗍𝗪 or even be around when Virginia was at Jeffrey's house. Trump was never going to go over there because her dad worked at Mar-a-Lago. He had to keep a clear separation from Virginia, right? And that's why it was, Annie Farmer, Maria Farmer, right? It's Sarah Ransom. There were these other girls that like Trump got involved with because he wasn't going to fucking do something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's Maria Farmer is the one in Epstein's office, the late night when Trump shows up. That was Maria Farmer. So I'm sure they had a very clear separation, because part of the way you keep this going, guys, if you look at human traffickers, I'm not a human trafficker, but I've studied a lot of this shit. But part of the way, if you look at how this works, is they keep the girls separated. Okay? If he has 30 girls that fucking do this work for him, he probably kept them in 7 or 8 groups of 4 or 5, right? Because 30 girls coming together, you might have a mutiny on your hands. 3 or 4 girls, 5 girls, and it's like just a tiny manageable group. So they have a tendency to keep pockets of women separate. The same with guys who pimp out like cam girls. They will have multiple houses that house a couple of girls in each house, because you don't want, strength in numbers. You don't want too many of them getting together, because they might share stories and then there's going to be a rebellion and they're going to actually do something about it. You always have pockets of a very small, manageable, closed group that don't know any of the other groups. So if something happens, if one girl decides to rat somebody out, you can just remove those 4 and just get rid of that one pocket, right? You can't let them spreading shit, right? You have to keep the everything separate so you can't bring down the whole. Man, it's like mobster units too. Mobsters do the same shit. Cells, yeah. Terrorist cells, terrorist groups do the exact same thing. That's the way traffickers manage it. I mean, it's just so if one cell goes bad, you can cut the cell off and you're not losing your whole business, right? And it's fucking, but why was a 16-year-old working in the spot Mar-a-Lago? Because Trump's a fucking degenerate. That's why. because he's got a taste for
But as
teen
the
girls.
story has evolved and he has acknowledged, yeah, one of the women was underage and it was Virginia Giuffre. And this, to me, it seems very clear that Trump knew at least something about what was going on, but did nothing about it. And even the timing of when Epstein was supposed, when the breakup between them supposedly happened, even some of the timing of that is suspect based on what Donald Trump is saying, because it seems that he remained a member at Mar-a-Lago long after news of his activities had sort of become known. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But what's your sense of, are there people that are trying, you're guessing here, obviously, but based on your experience, do you think there are people that are trying to control what Trump is saying? Or is it, we're not going to be able to control him, let's just try to clean it up after?
Well, one thing that I did want to add on one of your previous comments too was something that I think we're in agreement on, is that I I don't want to guess what's in the the files. I obviously never seen them, and uh and so this is all just me kind of coming up with my theories on everything of like what Trump's role in all of this could be. But I think there is something to be said that if there was some sort of silver bullet that could take out Trump, I would have imagined that Merrick Garland would have released these files when he had the chance. And so I don't know what's in there, but I think that there's something that Trump is panicked over and worried about. And to me, my best guess then is that he did have knowledge of Epstein's activities and just like turned a blind eye because he was like, I'm having fun partying with this guy.
See, here's the thing, though. Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why I think this is entirely possible, that what she's saying, where you're going to see these files and it's going to become very obvious that Trump knew about it, but he didn't partake, right? But I think it's different. I think he partook too, but I think there's a reality here that there are a lot of big names on both sides of the aisle and in big industries, and it maybe go up. It may include like Supreme Court justices and fucking governors. And right, I mean, it could include foreign heads of state. And it could be something where they simply can't release any piece of it because it's going to create some type of domino that's going to destabilize like many world governments and financial markets, right? Because of like, because you can't just release one. Like, obviously, right, if they were to release, and I'm sure they don't have a smoking gun of like, there's Trump was caught with something, but there's probably enough fucking, information that you could infer, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know, man. But either way, I don't think it matters, because if he's in it, it's problematic and there's not going to be direct proof. If he's not in it, it's problematic because he knew about it or he's covering for the people who were in it, which is almost as problematic than doing it himself for Trump, right? Because Trump has lived as like, I'm not the deep state, is what he says. I'm the anti-establishment guy. I'm here to bring down the deep state. So if he's protecting the deep state, that ruins Trump. That ruins his whole shtick, You know what I mean? But like, let's be honest. We know he was involved. We don't know if they have a smoking gun about it. But
Or these are my friends and I'm just going to look the other way. So I don't know what's in there, but that's just something that I wanted to add on top of what you said. But to your other question, I think that it's not even just in the case of Epstein. It's oftentimes with managing Trump, you're just reacting to what he says. You can give your advice and sometimes he'll listen and sometimes he'll take it. And I think that, those around him, I imagine those people around him are probably trying to help him throughout this situation. But for the most part, I think that Trump thinks that he has like the pulse on his base and what they'll react to and what they care about. And so I think he usually just goes with his instinct of doing what he thinks is best to say or do at any given time. And I think that this scenario is the first time where we've really seen that he clearly doesn't have his pulse on it, and that he's reading the situation incorrectly. Because
that's really interesting what she said there. Did you see that, guys? I feel like what she said here is really a huge, huge deal, because prior to this Epstein thing, there's people influencing Trump, and he may take somebody's ideas, but he just knew how to go out, feed the base. The base is loving him. He's got the base, right? And he just had them. He just instinctively knew how to do it, right? He always knew what would placate them and keep them going. So even if he fucked up everything else, he could rally that fucking base. But like on Epstein, he doesn't. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what to say. And the shit he said has made it worse. And he's like, why are you still talking about it? And then he's insulting the base, and like, he's actually flustered because for the first time since he started this political journey, he does not instinctively know how to placate the large majority of his supporters. He's lost touch a little bit. He didn't realize how important this was. And he probably, I don't know, he's getting older, but he definitely doesn't know how to just make this better and make it go away. And that, I think, is really, could be real bad news for him, because when Trump doesn't know how to instinctually make something better, he usually ends up just making it worse, because he's a bull in a china shop, and he goes back and forth and switches his thing and responds in a moody way. And yeah, so the lies are going to catch up to him. He gets more and more impatient. He tries to fucking, like control it more. And so he's going to fuck it up. And yeah, he should be quiet, but he's never going to be quiet, dude. But I hope it ruins him, dude. I can't wait until he's dead. I'm just going to say that. I can't wait until he's dead, man. He just needs to go.
He's trying to distract them with, it's the Obama and the Comey conspiracy theory. Or then he's trying to gaslight them and say, why are we still talking about Epstein?
That was a huge mistake.
And to me, that is just infuriating, the people that voted for him. And
yeah, dude, the whole, like, why are we still, who wants to talk about Epstein? Dude, somebody should have been like, yo, Trumpy, like, homie, I get it. You think you know what you're doing, but like going out there and saying, why are you still talking about this is not, that was not the play, bro. Oh, Jesus.
I think that includes MAGA, but then also some of these newer voters that came into the coalition during the course of the 2024 campaign, some of those kind of like podcast bro types who
see, yeah, the podcast bros like Theo Vaughn and Andrew Schultz and all them and Rogan. But guys, I think this harkens back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, you remember how earlier I was talking about the political situations and how I would go in as a kid with my teacher and I would just instinctively be able to figure out what they did, right? And that's the thing with Trump. Is Trump's dad was definitely a narcissist. Trump is a narcissist. Their family has a lot of like power dynamics issues and shit. The thing about it comes down to that instinctual thing. Trump is not a good thinker. He's not a good strategizer. He is not a good like planner. Okay. He's not strategic at all. He operates on instinct. And the thing about it is Trump used to be able to manage his base just on instinct. He didn't have to think about it. He just had to show up and start talking, and the magic happened. And the thing about it is Epstein has made it so he shows up, he starts talking, and the magic doesn't happen. And that's what's crazy. His instincts are not making this go away. And he's not going to be able to he's not going to be able to respond to that effectively because he's not a good strategist and he's not controllable. So somebody else can strategize and guide him out of it, right? He's just going to probably keep digging his own hole. You know?
We're listening to people like Theo Vaughn or Andrew Schultz or Joe Rogan talk about these things. And they are saying, hey, something's up here. And they're not buying what he's selling. And so I think, though, that the White House side of things and the staff, they can try their best to push him in a direction. But at the end of the day, Trump's always going to do what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, last thing I want to talk about, the period of time between January 6, 2021 and when you left. Did you get the sense, or to put it a different way, what was the sort of makeup of the views in the White House in terms of the people you spoke to as to what happened on January 6th? And what I mean by that is there were a lot of public defenses of Trump. Trump said be peaceful, and ultimately he didn't do anything wrong, this sort of thing. But in terms of what was shared candidly between you and others, was there a large contingent that genuinely felt that Trump did nothing wrong and had no blame for what happened on January 6th? Or was there more of a consensus that this is bad, we've got to clean it up? Maybe some people are willing to help clean it up and some like you are not, but that there was sort of a unanimous feeling that, no, Trump does have culpability here. What was the environment like?
Yeah, it's so funny because I was in the West Wing that day, and I would say 99.9% of the people who were there with me that day were experiencing the same feelings that I was feeling. They were saddened, they were heartbroken, they were disgusted, and shocked and disappointed, particularly with Trump and his handling of it and feeling like he didn't meet the moment. And this was something that I talked about with staffers.
Man, see, dude, Trump never meets the moment, guys. And that's the thing that really bothers me about like the Trump thing and just our country voting for him, is because I get it that the guy has that reality TV charisma and whatever, and he's, he charms. I don't find him charming, but there's certain types of people that find him charming or funny or whatever. And I mean, he's a little bit affable at times, but he has an innate instinct at how to be a reality TV star and play that character. But the thing about it is this guy never rose to meet the moment. Like, never. He never rose to meet the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would never rise to meet the moment when he would get criticized. He certainly didn't rise to meet the moment during COVID. He never rose to meet the moment when he fucked something up by like admitting he was wrong and taking responsibility for his mistakes. Like, he never rose to meet any moments ever. And then in fact, he would use the moments, instead of meeting them, he would use those moments to berate people and to dump shit and to be a negative, like verbally abusive, fucking like thin-skinned piece of trash. And yet people still voted for him. Like, why do you vote for somebody, even no matter what the politics are, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I've had presidents before that I didn't like, but they still met the moment in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? They would like go out there and take the bullets and take the heat, and like, I don't know, dude, he's never done that. He's never risen to the moment at all. And yet people still give him the top job. And to me, that's really disappointing, because it like tells me that a large swath of America no longer values like good leadership, right? They don't value good leadership. They value like abrasiveness and animosity and vitriol and like emotional dumping and seething, right? They value like rage and games and aggression instead of like actual fucking leadership, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it makes me profoundly disappointed, because it's like, why are we doing that? Like, why are we, you know what I mean? I mean, you can tell people are genuinely worried People are genuinely worried about like the price of things and the prospect of, climate change and the prospect of being able to own a home or be able to survive. Like people are genuinely concerned. But at the same time, instead of reacting to like, wow, I am genuinely concerned and I'm scared about the future, so therefore I'm going to look for a really good leader to rally behind, people are like, I'm scared about the future, so I'm going to look for the biggest asshole that I can find that's just going to scorch everything, and I'm going to revel in the fact that I'm scorching shit instead of actually rolling up our sleeves and doing some work to make this world better. And to me, that's just really disappointing because I've always been a rallier. I'm like a never give up kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? I am a never give up sort of guy. I'm a guy that like rallies the troops, and I don't care how dark it is. I know that a dawn's coming out there somewhere, and I'm going to find it. And like watching people just sort of be like, yeah, I'm scared and it's fucked up, so let's burn it down. It makes me sad, man. Like that shit really is like, I'm real disappointed in that. I don't like that energy, man. It's not the energy of how you fucking make shit happen.
Some of whom still work for him to this day. And so it's just really interesting to see the whitewashing that has happened. And that extends, to the Republican politicians who, welcomed him with open arms back into the fold when we had an opportunity. I say we as like I'm a member of the Republican Party still. I don't know where I am these days anymore, but the Republican Party had an opportunity to move past him and chart a new direction, and instead they chose not to. And so because we saw all the statements that these politicians were putting out in the immediate aftermath of January 6th, I wasn't alone in my feelings. I did choose to resign that day, and obviously there were several other resignations, but not as many, I think, as one would have thought
I would have thought everybody would have resigned.
President in U.S. history disrupt the peaceful transfer of power and incite an insurrection on our nation's capital. So I think there were many more people though who agreed with me, and then there's a lot of people who I still talk to this day who will tell me privately behind the scenes, hey, I really respect you for what you did and support you and everything that you're doing, and saying like, keep up the good work. But these are people, some of our members of Congress, some are their staff, and they're not willing to publicly say these things, but they'll say it to me behind my back, or I mean, in private.
Dude, that's crazy. And yeah, tenacious, you're not wrong, right? That when you say the Republican Party has been set to go down this path, because we know that since Obama, they've been in full sort of like burn it down, obstruct mode, okay? They have been in obstruct mode ever since Obama, where they will like just, and not even in the federal government, but in state governments, in local governments, school boards, just burn, right? Like shut it down, right? They've been like, fuck it, we're just going to like grind the gears until it doesn't move at all and bring everything to a halt, rather than actually like work with the other side, right? It's like, no, it's either our way or we're going to fucking just stop the machinery. And it's very true. So of course they found the king of fucking, burn it all down, right? It started with Reagan. I mean, it did. I mean, obviously the wealth gap started with Reagan and shit. But the thing about it is with Reagan and the first Bush and Clinton, okay, there was still a little bit of bipartisanship. I'll be honest, guys. I feel like the root of it is what went on with Bush 2 and that election where Al Gore won that fucking election, boss. And then it went to the Supreme Court, and George Bush's brother Jeb and the dangling Chads, and like there was a stolen fucking election, okay? Like a bona fide stolen fucking election with Florida, with Al Gore, where like I'm pretty fucking sure that Al Gore won that election. And then there was a lie about a war to like, you know what I'm saying? And so that started the seed of Democrats being real fucking resentful, okay? And then we ended up marching into a war, and then the economy crashed, and then Obama came in and was like, man, let's try to fucking fix this shit up. And then the Republicans were like fucking nothing but obstruction after that. And I think part of it is the shit that went down in that 2000 election, right? That 2000 election, like, man, even the people who eked it out, I think everybody kind of knew that something was not right with that shit, you know? And then the lie of the war and fucking 9/11 happened. A lot of shit happened right after that too that was demoralizing. 9/11, the fake war, and then fucking, you know, the housing market crash, the subprime mortgages. And like, dude, it was like that bullshit around that election, I feel like set off a domino effect that sort of like demoralized everybody in government. And then the Republicans never recovered, I think. You know what I mean? And obviously a black president, slave nation, the racism crept out. But I feel like that 2000, even the Republicans kind of knew that they were like taking something that they hadn't really earned, you know, and that does something to you too, when you know you sort of are cheating, but you're doing it anyway. It does something to you. It like fucks you up. I think living outside of good integrity fucks you up. It has a long-term effect. If you let your integrity slide, you get self-destructive in the long term. You can't not be. The only way to be not self-destructive is to have like a real solid relationship with your integrity. And I think they knew it. I think they knew Al Gore won, and they just fucking didn't care. They wanted that power. And it fucking started a chaos.
And which is very interesting to me, because
That
I
is
do
really
think
interesting.
that sentiment still holds within some parts of the party. But then I do think that others have just chosen to, you know, whitewash those events and have kind of convinced themselves of that, you know, there was no wrongdoing and everything, because maybe it's a way of feeling less guilty about themselves. I don't know.
You mentioned, you know, you're not.
Dude, I mean, just while we're on the Al Gore, can you imagine the timeline, guys? If Al Gore had won the presidency, like the shift to clean energy that would have happened 25 years ago, we would be ahead of China. We would be ahead of fucking probably Europe. You know what I'm saying? If Al Gore had won in 2000, we would have started the clean energy, like the economy, man. Dude, I'm telling you, it would have been like a third industrial revolution that would have happened. You know, that would have been a hell of a timeline, man. And now we're gonna just fucking burn. We're gonna burn this shit and then have to sort through the ashes.
Not even sure where you are politically right now. Is there an elected official right now that ideologically you feel like is sort of representative of your views? And, you know, I'm thinking of a friend of mine who, ever since we were in college, he was like a Romney guy, a Romney type Republican. And he was never a Trump supporter. He did support Democrats for president in the last two elections, at least the last two, because he's not a Trump guy, but he's still like a Romney kind of center-right Republican type person. Is there someone right now that you would say, this is really the embodiment of my politics?
Yeah, that's such a good question, because I grew up being a Romney McCain type of Republican. Those were the figures within the party that I admired. And unfortunately, a lot of the other Republicans in the party that I have admired have left office in recent years. Like, I think of someone like Senator Rob Portman from Ohio. I'm from Ohio originally, and he was someone that I really look up to. And unfortunately, just the way that the party has shifted, those types of people are leaving, choosing on their own accord to leave public office. Or I think of like a Will Hurd from Texas, congressman from there. He's someone.
Yeah, nowadays the fucking Republican Party, you have to be a nasty bitch like fucking MTG or a total degenerate fucking thuggy like troll like Mike Lee, right? You have to be like a really shitty, nasty, fucking degenerate piece of fucking trash now in the Republican Party.
That I adore and just have the utmost respect for and consider a good friend. And it's like, those are the types of Republicans that I want more of in our politics. But unfortunately, our current political system, the way that the primaries are, it doesn't reward those types of Republicans, those more kind of normie types. And it rewards, those who are on the fringes. And so I mean, there are some folks who like, depending on who the Democrat 2028 candidate was, that I would back for president. Like, I think probably the name that comes to mind is like a Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia. He's kind of more similar, I think, to a lot of the ideals that I believe in and support. And
see, one thing I want to say, since you brought up Mike Lee, I brought up Mike Lee too, but Mike Lee is just like Trump. And because his dad, Mike Lee's dad, was like wildly successful. He was a wildly successful lawyer, a really good, like top of the fucking heap lawyer. And Mike Lee was not, and never lived up to his fucking dad ever. And Trump was the same way. That Trump's dad, he was a piece of shit, right? But Trump's dad was a wildly successful businessman. And Trump was not a successful businessman. He's just not good. He bankrupted everything he touched, man. He's fucking, lazy and untalented, not smart. He's not good with people. He's too pushy. He's fucking too aggressive, right? He's just a terrible fucking businessman. And so he never really got like his dad was a piece of shit, but his dad was a really, really good businessman. Like, he was good at scaling shit and just fucking making it happen. So was his grandfather. But Trump was not, and Trump never could fucking live up to that.
So he would be someone, but like, also like, I would have a really hard time with the fact of the idea of supporting someone who's not willing to go out there and say that the 2020 election wasn't stolen. Like, it's sad that that's such like it's the litmus test for me, though. But it is, and it's something so basic that any politician should be able to say. But I do think that when the Republican primary happens for 2028, I do think there are going to be a lot of candidates who aren't willing to go that far and say something as simple as that, even though we know it to be the truth. And so
that's crazy to think about, like, that there are going to be people, even after Trump's out of this, there are going to be people in 2028 that are going to still be insisting that Trump won that election. Like, isn't that wild?
It will just depend on I think what the field looks like on both sides, kind of for where my support will go. But there still are Republicans within the party who I do like and admire, but it's hard to see how a lot of them have contorted themselves to not get on Trump's bad side. And so, there's a couple out there, but unfortunately, I do think that a lot of the Republicans that are more aligned with my values have decided to leave office in recent years, which is disappointing because I think we need more people like them to be running, not less. But,
all right, dude, let's go. Dude, that was pretty interesting. I definitely found some good clips there. Okay, so guys, here's what we're going to do now. All right, you ready? Oh fuck, dude, it's already 2 a.m., bro. So, dude, we're gonna have to do Cenk Uyghur tomorrow, right? I'm not gonna have time tonight. We just fucking killed the whole fucking stream. And so I guess what we're gonna do is we're gonna start tomorrow with Cenk Uyghur and JUBILEE. All right, we're gonna have to start with Cenk and the JUBILEE, the JUBILEE. right? And then we will probably we'll probably just only do that tomorrow. Tomorrow will just be Cenk Uyghur, right? That'll be the whole stream, provided there's not a fucking news. We do. I feel, and I just looked at it. It's an hour and 44 minutes. So like, I feel like this is going to be a whole stream and like a week's worth of content. Don't you? Because you know he's probably so terrible. Dude, an hour and 44 minutes. And they're going to copy strike it. So we'll just fucking do the whole stream tomorrow. Cenk Uyghur. All right? Cenk Uyghur and fucking company. Yeah, there is a lot, right? Oh, man. I do want to see one thing, though. Before we go, I do want to see one thing. I want to see this 𝗙ecie𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 bit, okay? Let's look at this 𝗙ecie𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 thing, right? Right? Let's fucking see the 𝗙ecie𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 thing. I want to see, I'm really intrigued by this man keeping, okay? And so this is, let's look at this. Right? I don't think this is that long. It's probably like 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Yeah, let's watch the man keeping thing real quick. All right, we're going to finish with 𝗙ecie𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 because I don't know what this man keeping thing is, but I love the green hair. And so I'm like, dude, let's watch this. We're going to end with a little Anna. All right, we'll get our palate warmed with some Anna. And then tomorrow we're just going to do Cenk Uyghur. Right? Yeah, I don't know what man keeping is. I don't know what this is. Let's see what it is, though. Right? See if we're agreeing with Anna or if we're going to burn it all down. But look at the color of the room and the color of the hair. I mean, I love this fucking ensemble right here.
Sup, fellas? Lock in real quick for me. Hey, do you realize that women would rather die alone than live a life with you? I know. Bold start.
Dude, oh shit. Dude, bold words right there. Do you realize that women would rather die alone than fucking end up with you? Like, what's crazy? I actually know a lot of women. I've dated some women that are like at that place. I mean, dude, it's not without like how many fucking sexual assaults do men get away with? How much domestic violence, how much fucking subterfuge and like, you know, men expecting women to like be subservient, to behave like a rib. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, they just want to be seen and be able to express themselves without having to fulfill a role for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Or without being treated like a fucking secondary trash, you know? You know what I mean? I know a lot of women that feel that way, and they're usually the educated ones.
Sup, fellas? Lock in real quick for me. Hey, do you realize that women would rather die alone than live a life with you? I know. Bold start.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. I don't agree with her. But anyway.
Oh, look at Anna. Anna's like, I don't agree with her. Dude, all right, dude, what is with the pictures, dude? Homie is sporting the booty shorts, dude. Like, dude, why do they have like gay couple picture over here? No, this beautiful gay man in the booty shorts. What are they doing on the fucking photo side? Dude, Anna's like gonna start the Jeffrey Epstein 2 spa. The adult version.
Yeah, I don't like her already.
Yeah, seriously. So look, over the past...
Dude, Cenk's like, I don't like her already. Cenk Uyghur's like, I don't like her. All right. Yeah, no, here, we'll watch the whole TikTok. Wait, here, hold on. Let's see the TikTok. Why is it giving me a... Oh, I see. All right, so we will... Dude, why is it giving me a fucking YouTube redirect link instead of... Oh, I know why.
Sup, fellas?
I know why, because different browser. right? That's why. Oh, because my YouTube is now in fucking Edge. I'm using YouTube in Edge instead of Chrome so I don't lose my chat when shit freaks out. But so we'll look at that in a minute. We'll look at the TikTok after this, all right? Or should we look at the TikTok first? How do you want to do it? Do you want to watch the whole 3 minutes? Should we watch? Let's watch the TikTok first, actually. Shall we? Yeah. Let's see the full 3-minute TikTok.
What's up, fellas? Lock in real quick for me. Hey, do you realize that women would rather die alone than live a life with you? I know. Bold start. It's the truth, though, okay? Go look up the study that Stanford did. Vice put out an article on it. Go look it up, because I feel like there's some articles underneath it that are probably going to be critical reading for you at this juncture. Because what the fuck? Soren, one video. I need one.
Dude, I love her fucking green room, though.
Buddy, you're kind of ruining my whole seriousness of this video.
Dude, I used to have an orange cat like that. His name was Uncle Fucker.
So, my guy. I feel like this needs to just be a series. Talks with Soren, because every time I pull out my camera, he has to be in it. It's mandatory at this point. Okay, so here's the thing. There was the whole trend going around where Man of the Year and other things like that. And after seeing the absolutely abysmal dating stories that I've seen, and I know a lot of it's for clout and all the crap, but it's the truth. Women have been screaming from the rooftops for years, and it's just kind of gotten worse and worse and worse, especially with the podcast and all the other things and people monetizing off of the hatred for women, because like, what's fucking new? But you're in an interview and you guys are not getting the job, and it's for a reason. And if you are, the bar is so low, dude. If you're single, okay, and you're looking and you're not getting any play, I promise you, my guy, it's you. Like, come on, dude. Okay. All right, well, Soren thinks you need to stop being such a little bitch. Like the Man of the Year trend, and then of course, the responses from, sir, can I get 2 seconds? The response from men about where are you finding them? Da-da-da-da-da. Dude, it's your dad. It's your uncle. It's your best friend. There is no caliber to go off of anymore. It's one and the same. So if you want to be different, be different. If a woman says to you, hey, that hurts me. Hey, that's problematic. Hey, don't do that. It's actually misogynistic. This is based in patriarchy, da-da-da-da-da, and so on. The way that women do oftentimes when women say no, it means no. It doesn't mean convince me. These are basic things that I feel like men should know, but apparently we need it broken down. No means no. When a woman says something, it's not actually a debate. My God. Okay? My man. Now, do I let a man control my life? Yeah, but he's fluffy and cute, and he actually brings me joy. What joy are you bringing to the table is a question I feel like a lot of you need to ask. So, hi, baby. There is so much more to say on this topic, and I will when I can escape my fur baby. But here's the thing. I need a lot of you to ask, what are you bringing into a relationship that will benefit somebody's life? That isn't any means of like monetary gain.
That's the big one right there, right? What are you bringing to the relationship, right? Other than money, okay? Because what we did as a society is we set up a society where men just had to bring money, and that was it. And as long as they bring money, they're good. And it's still kind of like that. You can be the dumpiest, ugliest fucking 60-year-old dude out there, and if you have a bunch of money, you can be dating 25-year-old hot women, right? It just instantaneous, right? If you have money, but outside of the type of money that are, or the type of women that are just dating for money, okay, most women aren't really like that. I know we say that they are because that convinces men that they just have to bring money, and bringing money's how they get women, and it sort of excuses the whole system. But most women don't fucking care about money. They care about other shit. They care about being heard, about not being fixed, about like being empowered, about, you know, fucking having control over their own world and their fucking dreams and their ambitions. And they want like a partner. They want somebody who inspires them and who fucking shares the journey with them. You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy. Like I was, you know, talking to the other day where, dude, I never once saw my dad make my mom a meal in 18 years. He never made her a meal. He never fucking cleaned the house, cleaned the kitchen for her. He never fucking, you know, did the laundry ever. He never once in 18 years shared any responsibility for the, like he would put burritos in the microwave for himself. You know what I'm saying? But like, dude, it's so crazy. Like he didn't share in anything. He just worked a job, came home and was like, leave me the fuck alone. And then he used the pressure of his job as an excuse to like control the emotional environment of the whole place. And then he sat around and watched TV and that was it. You know what I mean? And it's like, there is a lot of, I don't know, man, there's a lot of like this idea that all the man has to do is bring home some money, or all he's got to do is be a physical presence, and that's enough. And it's like, that's just, I don't know, man. It's been my experience. I mean, I've been a guy who never has any money. I'm like poor as shit. And I've always been around like women and always had a, you know, have never been, I was never, you know, an incel or right. I never was celibate because, you know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't find women to hang out with. Never had that issue. And I've never had a fucking dime. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because I do bring a lot of things that aren't money to a relationship, you know? But there's a real disservice though, I feel like, with how we learn. Like we don't learn that. We don't learn to bring value to a relationship. We were never taught that. We were taught that like we deserve a wife who takes care of us because we're the breadwinner, the guy with all the answers and shit, you know?
An actual emotional connection and spiritual connection, if that's the thing that you believe in. But what are you bringing to somebody's life that will actually benefit them in any way? If it is just monetary, it is not enough. It's not. So
yeah, interesting. So when you look at that, once we get beyond the cat and all that, that whole diatribe was aimed at a type of manhood thinking, right? From a woman's point of view of like, we want emotional connection. We want somebody that brings something to the relationship versus money. Okay. And there's the article of the fucking thing is man keeping is why women. And so what man keeping is, right? Man keeping is the idea of like the shit you do to keep your man, right? Which is like being his, you know, if you look at the article, I encourage you to look at that article, right? If you look at the article, right, it talks about, right, the emotional labor women do, managing his stress, interpreting his moods, holding his hands through feelings when he won't share anything, right? And it can go beyond that, I'm sure, to like doing his laundry, taking care of his house, being a caretaker in the physical sense. But this is a big part here, right? It's like being a one-person support system where the man doesn't have relationships with his male friends where he's open with his feelings. The man doesn't open up. The man doesn't do any therapy. The man doesn't regulate his emotions. So then the woman is left to sift through this complicated mess of a guy who won't communicate with anybody else, who won't open up to anybody, and she has to just sit there and like fucking navigate that, walk on eggshells, figure out his moods when he's upset by work or when he's upset because the football team lost, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, dude, that's a lot, because if a woman's doing that, she's codependent, right? She's not even her own person. That you should be doing that for yourself, right? It's not like Jenny. Okay, we've been together for 12 years, 12 and a half years. Okay, she does not regulate my emotions. You know what I'm saying? When I'm having a bad day, she does not fix my bad days. Okay, I fix my bad days. Sometimes I don't even fix them. Sometimes I just wallow in the bad day. And she like witnesses me wallowing and just lets me wallow. And if I wallow too deep, she might say, hey, fucking don't go that deep. Like fucking do something with yourself. Get proactive here. But you know what I'm saying? And like, but it's if I'm having a bad day, it is my job to fix that bad day, right? Not hers. And vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And that's really, really fucking important, realizing that it's not her job. And in fact, though, because I am an addict, Jenny is pretty codependent. So we actually have to be extra aware. If I'm having a bad day, like I have to be extra aware that she might try to take it on and try to fix it. And I actually have to put up a boundary sometimes and be like, no, don't take it on. This isn't yours to fix. Sorry that I'm in a foul mood. This isn't about you, right? Because the way men do it is they get in a foul mood and then the girl detects the foul mood and then she plays the game of like trying to massage you in the right way to eliminate the foul mood. And in the process, you dump all your shit onto her or you fucking, right? You like transfer it. And so, you know, we have to be real cognizant of that sometimes. But man, this is really spot on. But all right, let's see, like Anna and Cenk, they had a real issue with her. I don't know if they watched the whole TikTok, but let's see what we got here.
Months, there have been all these articles published about a manufactured thing. And it's referred to as man-keeping because if the press isn't writing gender-related stories on
see, they don't like the gender, guys. If we talk about gender, that means trans people exist. And if trans people exist, that means like Anna and Cenk have to, like, they can't just ignore all of humanity and fucking just focus on economic populism. Right? Oh, it's the gender. Dude, the progressive news network doesn't want to deal with gender issues in a news network where the man who couldn't get laid in South Beach fires all the women because he's upset that they called him a bitch, right? Oh, all right, yeah, you got gender issues. Newsflash, guys. Like in America, we have two main things, guys. We have race, we have fucking gender. Okay, and those are the hierarchies in America. Okay, you have a racial hierarchy and you have a fucking gender hierarchy. And every instance in every social fabric that we exist in is operating in some mechanism of those two hierarchies. You are never in a situation in America that doesn't involve race or fucking gender. And the sooner we get that through our thick skulls and realize that we have to dismantle the patriarchy and dismantle white supremacy and not just ignore it, but become actively anti-racist and anti-patriarchal and start dismantling this shit, right? For men, we got to stop protecting women and we got to start holding our male friends accountable, right? Instead of protecting our woman, we got to go out with our buddies and be like, dude, you're being a misogynist bitch right now. Quit fucking treating the waitress that way in public. Like, just because there's a bunch of guys together, we don't have to fucking act like pigs. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need to do. That's like the anti-patriarchal shit. You know, we have to start like shifting our focus onto us, you know? But anyway, Anna's got a big problem because, gender, man-keeping, yeah, right? We just can't, we can't explore gender and fucking evolve it, right? No, we got to stick to, man, woman, child, kids, happy, married, Jesus. Dude.
Isn't writing gender-related stories on a manufactured issue that frames men in a negative light. What else would they be doing with their time? And I'm actually being serious. I'm not even being hyperbolic here. So apparently, man-keeping is a term that was created by a postdoctoral fellow at Stanford University, because of course it was. Her name is 𝗙𝗪𝗪_𝗪, and it describes the work women do to meet the social and emotional needs of their men in their lives, from supporting their partners through daily challenges and inner turmoil to encouraging them to meet up with their friends.
I just want to pause on what she said there, because she said how these articles are saying men are bad or whatever, or like, right? But like, here's the thing, guys, okay? Is fucking the thing about this that's problematic is like women throughout history have been thought of as bad, as gold diggers, as too emotional. You know, they're emotionally reactive. They're not truthful, going all the way back to Eve, the liar, Adam and Eve. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like there's been this negative idea about women. Don't trust them. Right? That's why they have those sayings like bros before hoes and all this shit. Or like if a woman shows her body in any way, she's a slut. There's been just a negative vein of like women are bad. Women are unqualified. Women are too much emotional work. Like, oh, I can't even like go home without the woman nagging, right? There's just all kinds of things that women have been bad and problematic for fucking centuries. Okay? But for men, the minute we get some of that attention of like our toxic masculinity, of the ways that we are bad, we're like, whoa, why do you have to say we're bad all the time? Can't we just talk a little bit of how good we are? When in fact, you can realize that men are bad, not because men are inherently horrible creatures, but because we've existed in a society that has made us bad and allowed us to be bad, and we've grown comfortable with the privilege and power that being bad has afforded us. And so, yes, we can look at men are bad and still be good men, okay? Right? The same way that we can look at America is bad when they drop the atomic bomb, but we can be good Americans, okay? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like our government can do something horrible, and just because America, the government is bad, doesn't mean that we're all bad, okay? It just means that we don't want to be like them. We should be better, right? And so the thing is I think that like manhood, as we have allowed it to exist, is bad. I don't even know if the men are bad. I think it's manhood that is bad, because we've allowed it to be bad, because we've allowed it to be a place where we get by on our privilege and we get to be toxic and get everything anyway, and we get to dismiss everybody else and still have all the power. And so I think like confronting ways that manhood is bad and improving manhood so we can be better harmonizers with the women and with the other genders that exist on this planet, with the planet itself and with each other, I don't see anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like for example, I mean, I know this is different. Like as men, we gotta stop taking our manhood so personally. Okay? Like our manhood and our value are not one and the same. Okay? And I think that gets real confusing for some men, because some men, they derive all their value from their notion of manhood. And we need to separate that, because like for example, I'm a YouTuber, okay? And I'm a speaker, and there's some ways that I'm a bad speaker. And so I'm a great streamer and I'm a great speaker, but in some ways I'm also a bad speaker, repeating myself and struggling to find a point, and you know what I mean? So then there's a lot of editing involved, but I'm getting to be a better speaker and I'm learning about YouTube. But if I am a bad YouTuber, that doesn't mean I'm invaluable, right? But a lot of men, we have our value tied into our concept of manhood. So if we're failing at manhood, that means we're just not good beings. Like we don't deserve to be alive. And I think that we as men should work to separate and realize that our value has nothing to do with manhood. Okay? Like nobody's value has anything to do with gender. That's more about empathy and compassion and service. And you know what I'm saying? And like our creativity and like, you know, the type of energy we inject into this universal energy field that we share, right? It has nothing to do with the manhood. And in fact, the manhood a lot of times can fuck shit up because, you know, especially if your idea of manhood is wrapped up in money or success or power or, you know, whatever it's wrapped up in, right? A lot of guys get wrapped up in sexual, like they feel like if they're, right? Am I performing good enough sexually for you? You know what I mean? Like, oh, right? And they're all wrapped up or their fucking hairline. Oh shit, dude. Oh, I'm losing my hair. There goes my manhood. Now I got to fucking go overcompensate. But a lot of that is just weird, fucked up social messaging. When in fact, our value comes in our vulnerability and connection and fucking empathy and compassion and our ability to fucking connect in our own unique ways, you know? But it's hard. And I don't know how we do that, how we get manhood in general, right? Because we've gone for thousands of years associating male value with the concept of, are you fucking being a good man? Are you a good man? Are you a strong man? Are you a whatever? Insert adjective here, man. When in fact, like, I wish we could separate the manhood and the value, right? And realize that value is intrinsic and value is about things that are beyond gender, right? And you know what I mean? I don't know if any of that makes sense, but it does to me.
It really is that really that much emotional work to like encourage your man to go have fun with his friends? Really?
See, like what she says there, is that really that much emotional work to go and encourage your man to go hang out with his friends? But the thing is maybe for some women that's not that much emotional work. But why should a woman have to encourage a man to go hang out with his friends? Like, a man should be able to recognize his own internal fucking condition and be able to recognize, wow, I'm lonely and I need something that my woman can't provide me, so I should go hang out with the people that can provide it to me, right? I mean, the fact that, like, it's not like, oh, it's hard for a woman to do that. It's just that, what kind of a man are you if your woman has to be, if she's the one monitoring your emotional condition and letting you know when you're lonely and you need male companionship? Like, hello? If you're actually taking stock with any sort of mindfulness, you would be recognizing, you would in fact be saying, honey, I'm fucking lonely right now. I mean, dude, I have this conversation with Jenny a lot because I never leave the house. I'm in here making videos 16 hours a day. I fucking am working around the clock. I'm interacting with you guys, but it's not face to face. But like, you know, I hear the door, my son comes in and I'm like out the door. Hey, oh my God. And he's like, whoa, it's a lot of energy, Dad. I just walked in and I'm like, dude, I haven't seen a human being for hours. Like, right? But it's my job to recognize that. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be Jenny's job to monitor my loneliness and my emotional condition, because I'm telling you, if Jenny is monitoring my emotional condition and if Jenny is monitoring my well-being to figure out when I'm lonely, and then she's not doing that for herself. Right? There's something that she's not doing for herself while she's doing that for me, right? And that's the thing, like, you know, that we don't get, right? But some people like that. Like, some people, if they're super codependent and they don't want to deal with their shit at all, they want to be around somebody who just lets them manage their fucking emotional conditions and shit.
Okay. What I have been seeing in my research is how women have been asked or expected to take on more work to be a central, if not the central, piece of a man's social support system. Angelica, what is the point of entering a relationship? Like, genuinely, I want to know. I want to know because as a woman.
So I will say this. I can't speak for everyone, but the point of my relationship with me and Jenny is that each of us has very separate like paths that we travel of healing, of like creativity, and of personal development, okay? And we each bring very different things to those journeys. And some of the things that Jenny brings to her healing, personal development, and creative journey are things that I lack. And some of the things that I bring, she lacks. And so her being in my orbit while I succeed and me being in her orbit while she succeeds, we're both mutually benefiting from that. But we have two like completely separate lives that are also enmeshed. You know what I mean? But it's like she has an emotional support system outside of me. And I have an emotional support system outside of her. And we do engage in a little emotional support with each other for sure. And we're definitely soundboards. We listen to each other all the time. But believe it or not, I think we probably get more emotional support from our outside influences than each other. And me sort of less so right now because I'm working so much. But you know, with AA and with the friend network and shit, I actually rely on a lot of emotional support from my son right now. He's like my best friend and he's going to move away soon. And then I'm going to have to develop like my manhood relationships in a really profound way when he leaves. I'll probably start going back to AA more regularly and, you know, keeping in touch. I mean, it's hard because a lot of my other men friends are also like workers, right? One is a fucking, you know, director of photography who's gone for months at a time on jobs. And the other one runs his own like book business. And so he's like super busy. We're all like super workers. But my point being though is like, I think, you know, not just men, I'm sure women do this too. Many people get into relationships and become each other's lone emotional supports. And I think that's super complicated.
And I don't speak for all women, I just speak for myself. As a woman, I'm gonna need some emotional support, okay? Like, that's one of the things.
Some emotional support.
You expect in a relationship, right?
Some.
And by the way, it's a 50-50 thing. I give, I get. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so I've never heard of women needing emotional support in a relationship. Never.
Never.
Right? See, again though, these guys, they're like all or nothing it, okay? Because the man keeping is talking about a woman not being the only mechanism of emotional support, right? And you know what I'm saying? It's about men having really well-developed emotional support networks so they don't rely on the woman. You know what I mean? So they don't rely on her to be the thing all the time, right?
So like, guys, I get it. So is it more of a phenomenon recently that guys are relying more on their girlfriends and wives? Apparently so, there's some numbers that back it up, right? And I'm gonna add one reason why as we go through this story, right? So I understand the phenomenon. At the same time, I don't know what's wrong with it. Like, they make it seem like it is happening, hence it is bad. Why is it bad? You're talking to your partner more and they're helping you get through tough times. That sounds kind of amazing.
It's funny.
No, I mean, it's not that. It's like the thing about it is the complication is when you become reliant upon it. Okay? And you know what it is, guys? I'll tell you what it is. I'm going to give you an example, guys. You ready? It's the free. Okay? Like, here's an example. I used to run a recording studio, okay, out of my house. I had a recording studio I built in my house. I recorded bands. But you ready? Here's what would happen, guys. At the end of the session, I like these guys. They're nice. They're great. I'd burn them a CD of rough mixes, which would take about a half an hour, and they would be walking out with an actual CD. And you do that every time for free, just because you like them, you love it, you're there, you're talking about the mixes, but pretty soon you start incurring costs of my time and my money because of the CDs, and that little bit adds up over time with all your clients. And then the first day you ask them to pay for it, like, hey guys, I got to charge you for the CD that I've been doing for you for free for the last 3 months, but now I got to start charging for the time and the CD. And then they feel ripped off, okay? And that ripped off feeling never goes away, okay? The minute you charge them once, they just feel ripped off and they feel like you've failed them in a major way. And this is what happens with the reliance, is the guys don't think they're relying on the woman, okay? They're just, oh, we're doing it, we're in it, we're 50-50ing it. But then when the guy becomes dependent upon it, and he doesn't know when to seek out his male friends, he doesn't have anyone but the woman, then one day it comes where the guy really needs her and she just doesn't have time for it. And he's like, you've fucking turned on me. And he's resentful and he's upset and he never gets over it. And you know what he does? He fucking cheats on her shortly after that. That's the seed. Or it could be vice versa with the woman. This is how it works, guys. The point is when you do this free emotional labor, we become dependent upon that free emotional labor as like a baseline. And then the minute that we are like not getting the free emotional labor, we are like, man, you've now fucking really done something to harm me. You failed me in a major way. And a lot of times we don't even do it on purpose. It just creeps in there. It's just this natural reaction that we have. And I'm telling you, that has literally destroyed every fucking relationship I've ever been in. Like, that has been the start, has been that seed of resentment because of a perceived failure, because of a dynamic that I had become reliant upon and just expected like clockwork. You know what I mean? And what's more is I would often seek out women that were insecure in a certain way that would allow me to play that dynamic out. And I'm sure they were choosing me because I was insecure in a certain way. So I was playing out the opposite side for them. But it's you get comfortable with being reliant upon that. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it gets dicey.
Because like historically, the big issue is the different way the genders communicate. So usually with males, these are generalizations, but I think most people can relate to this. You know, women like to vent. Like oftentimes, I'm having a bad day. I just want to vent about my problems. Don't give me any solutions, okay?
Right, and the guy pulls out his toolbox and you're venting? I need to tell you how to fix it. Did you tell him this? Did you do this? Did you do that? No, the woman just wants to say it, right? And we're gonna fucking, just learn to be a listener.
Because I want to figure out what's right for me myself. And if you want to, maybe hours after I vented, propose a solution or two, cool. But understand most of the time, when women want to vent, they just want to vent, okay? Men are different. I've experienced, and this is pretty much with every guy I've dated, they want to find solutions immediately. Okay, you're talking about this, which automatically means you want me to give you solutions. You want me to give you actionable items. And so that's always historically kind of been the tension. But this story is all about men are undergoing a loneliness crisis, and as a result, they're leaning on the women in their lives for emotional support. And God, don't men suck? Like, that's the...
Yeah, why do we suck because of that? Well,
Dude, we suck for many, many reasons. Like, let me just tell you, as a man, okay, I'm a guy, and I love being a guy. I fucking love my penis, okay? Let me just tell you, but like, I also suck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can really suck when I forget about my privilege, and when I just fucking live in a world where I don't have any consequences for my actions. You know what I'm saying? And where I live in a world where I can pull everybody's strings and get away with it because my level of privilege is so much higher than everyone else's. And I can dump my shit and leave them holding it because I was a breadwinner, or because I'm bringing some invaluable thing to the relationship that, like, I get a little bit of special treatment, right? You know what I mean? Like, oftentimes I have been in that situation, you know? And like, I think the idea of being able to see how we suck, or how we're manipulative, or how we fuck around with shit, and then also being able to, like, realize that we're still valuable, we're still good, right? Just because I have faulty characteristics and because I sometimes suck doesn't mean I'm not great. You know what I mean? The idea is, though, is you want to be consciously engaging with that instead of unconsciously. So I think it really comes down to mindfulness. You know what I'm saying? I think it comes down to mindfulness, really, that, like, a lot of women's complaints are about men not being mindful, you know, not being in touch with how they feel right now. What do I need right now? And instead of the woman detecting that I need something right now, and it's her job to figure out what I need so I can be less discombobulated. When in fact, no, if I'm mindful, I'm figuring out what I need. And then I'm in fact going to her being like, wow, I'm figuring out that I'm actually really sad because of X, Y, and Z. Like what happened with me the other day, right? I fucking, you know, what happened the other day was I had a string of great videos, and the other day I had 2 10 of 10s, 2 bottom feeding videos in a row. And I was crestfallen and heartbroken. And I spent much of the day like making the same thumbnail 10 different times and changing the title and fighting against this thing while simultaneously going and telling Jenny how fucking sad I was because my videos were 10s of 10. And I know I'm a good YouTuber, and I know it's just the end of a really big booming period, but nonetheless, I'm fucking sad and flailing. And I had my whole day like that. But like, I didn't walk around in a gruff all day being all fucking like bitter and silent and moody for her to figure out what was wrong with me or what I needed, right? I was like a communicating partner of like, wow, I'm having a day and I love you and I'm glad you're here, but I'm going to go back in my office and continue having my day. But I'm going to come out every couple of hours and let you know about how sad and fucking broken up I am. But anyway, I got to go. I got to go make some videos. I love you. We're going to have to finish this tomorrow. I got enough for a little video here. Fucking, right? It told you have to be a subscriber for 5 minutes. Oh, yeah. Yes. You have to be a sub to the channel. Yeah. Did you unsub and resub? Maybe that's what happened. But, all right. Fucking love you guys. We got to go, though, baby. Dude, we did. We went like an hour long, which happens. I mean, it happens, dude. It's time for edit mode, though. Let's go, baby! My love, is it ever good enough? 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 My love, my love, my love, is it ever good enough? My love. I will see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna go out with a little radiant. Don't forget tomorrow, 𝗙𝗍𝗍𝗃. We're gonna go ape shit with 𝗙𝗍𝗍𝗃. My love, is it ever good enough? I'll see you guys tomorrow, baby. Keep it real. See you tomorrow. Stay radiant, people. Love ya.
Hey, I just wanna change the world. I just want the perfect girl. I don't wanna hang around, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant truth. I know that you will understand, because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. Hey, I just wanna change the world, but I'm not gonna wait my turn. I don't ever want to come down, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together.